How do you do? The Box Office Pulp Board feels it would be a little unkind to present this podcast without just a word of friendly warning. We're about to unfold a cinematic commentary track, made by a group of men who sought to create a podcast after their own ravings, without reckoning upon God. It is one of the strangest tales ever told. It deals with three great mysteries of the internet: analysis, observation, and deconstruction. I think it will thrill you. It may shock you. It might even horrify you. So if any of you feel you'd not care to subject your nerves to such a strain, now's your chance to... well, we've warned you. Now, to pause and refresh. For your convenience, we have an attractive refreshment stand in the lobby, with buttered popcorn, golden good and hot from the popper, your favorite candies, wholesome and rich, plus delicious Dr. Pepper, so bright and bracing with a tang and tingle unmatched by any other beverage. Enjoy an ice-cold Dr. Pepper at our beverage stand right now, and then return to fully appreciate this bop and a movie commentary track. Enjoy.
Harry Potter. The boy who lived. Come to die.
It's done. It's done.
Yes, Mr. Cody. It's over now.
I can see St. Paul. There's the Mississippi, Highway 94. Surly beer fresh from the taps.
Long queue of Netflix titles. My app has ribbons in its hair. Oh, if I was ever to marry someone, it'd be her. It would have been her.
I'm glad to be here with you, Mike and Jamie, here at the end of all things.
Look! The Eagles are coming!
Wait, fuck, hold up. We're doing the Return of the King. Goddamn, we're doing Lord of the Rings. This is the wrong series ending. We're doing Harry Potter. Fuck. God damn it. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Box Office Pulp, your one-stop podcast for movies, madness, moxie, and tonight, shit, I spent all my time working on that Lord of the Rings intro. I didn't write an M-word joke. Anyways, the Bop Harry Potter commentary series finally reaches its grand finale today with Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2. I'm your host, Cody, and here with me at the end of all things, we have Mike.
I'm the dead twin.
and Jamie. We also have Jamie, the living twin.
I thought we were doing the end of the Maze Runner movies.
That's next time. If we ever did those, it would just turn into a long rant about Theseus, wouldn't it? You can be honest.
Cody, we're lucky most episodes don't turn into long rants about Theseus.
I can't wait till our Immortals episode.
I just like the idea of 3 commentaries where we're trying to figure out what the fuck the Scorch is.
It's got to be in these liner notes somewhere.
Yeah, Cody, you own those movies. What is the Scorch?
I do. If I'm remembering right, it's been a long time because that one kid fell off a train and broke his face in half, so there's like a 2-year gap between movies. The Scorch is the desert area outside the testing facility and around the cities where human beings still live, where it's just a deadly wasteland that's been created by some sort of killer virus. It's basically where they set like half the Resident Evil movies. All right. So before we jump into this episode proper, one of my friends who's listening to the episode said, "Hey, I'm about to listen to one of your commentaries. I hope you talk about how great Jim Broadbent is." And I got to say, we dropped the ball a little bit. We mentioned how great he is, but we treat it as a given. Let's all take a moment and just mention the fact that Jim Broadbent is always amazing in pretty much everything he does.
Goddamn pisses excellence.
Go Robo.
I, too, have seen Cloud Atlas and enjoy it. Anyways, that's our special awards mention for the day. You go, Jim Broadbent. Broadband. Broadband. I can't even say his name right. I don't deserve to credit him. I'm not worthy. John, or Broadbanter. Anyways, good for him. Moving on to things I can actually handle. Alcohol. Tonight's drink, the Coquette. You're going to start off. It sounds fancy, and it tastes fancy. You're going to start off with 1 ounce of cranberry vodka, preferably Deep Eddies. Then you're going to take a ½ ounce of peach schnapps. I used mine out of a plastic bottle, which is a mistake. Get the good stuff. Then you want 2 barn. I can't even say words today. This is terrible. 2 bar spoons of Cointreau and 3 ounces of champagne. Personally, I used a Brut Cava. I don't know enough about champagne to understand those words, but that's what it said on the label, and that was what was recommended, so that is what I bought. Also, the champagne I used today has been sitting on my fridge for exactly 1 year. So I'm glad to report champagne apparently does not go bad. That's our learning lesson for today. If you pop open champagne a year after buying it, it'll still be fizzy, so I'm so happy. Also, if you have trouble opening champagne bottles, because that's my biggest fear in life, is just I'm going to blow my eyeball out with a cork. The trick is, you take like the little metal wires that are around the cork, you twist 6 times so that it comes loose, but it doesn't come off. Then you hold on to the cork and you rotate the bottle with your free hand. And if you do this slowly enough, the cork will start pulling out and it'll get caught by the cage and your hand, and you won't have it fly across the room and you won't shoot fizz everywhere. No one's going to lose an eye. You're not going to have a hole in your drywall. All my worst fears were avoided. But there we go. Thank you, Internet. You saved the day. And I finally got to drink my champagne I was terrified of. I've been thinking of it as like a time bomb in the back of my fridge for the last year.
I like the idea of this champagne bottle being your version of Hellboy's Angel of Death.
She's been sitting there mocking me every time I open that fridge. I just want my slow cooker kettle out. I don't want to think about you. Anyways, folks, I've given you the ingredients. Let's combine these into a drink. 1, you're going to take the vodka, you're going to take the schnapps, you're going to take the Cointreau, put them all into a mixing glass. Inside that mixing glass, toss your ice in there. You want to shake the whole thing for about 20 seconds. Strain that into a chilled champagne flute, top with the champagne, and then take just a swath of an orange and put that into the drink, and you have yourself the Coquette. So this cocktail was actually cribbed from the Vinyl Me Please Record of the Month service, and it was curated by Brittany Metheny from the Alamo Draft House in celebration of St. Vincent's latest album, Mass Seduction. In Bethany's words, St. Vincent's music does an incredible job of integrating dark, sometimes heartbreaking, poetry with poppy beats. The result makes you want to shake your ass on the dance floor while simultaneously crying into your drink. And here, at the very end of all the Potter films, if you take the lingo about music and switch it to movie viewing, I think you have a close approximation of what we're going for here. Plus, it's champagne that I've been holding on to for a year out of fear. That seems like a good thing to celebrate with.
Would you say that this is your final Horcrux?
It is. After I drink this, my liver finally dies.
Oh, I have a better one.
Oh.
Would you say that this opens at the close?
Oh, it's my Chamber of Secrets filling out. I'm out of witty things to say about getting drunk in Harry Potter. I'm sure there's many more online, but those are not for me.
No, it's not that kind of podcast.
It's not, unfortunately. So that's tonight's drink, everyone. If you're into fizzy things that have a strong fruit flavor to them, I think you'll get a kick out of this. It's all alcohol, so be careful. I made mine as a double, and I'm going to slowly go through this so it doesn't kick my butt too much. Although I don't think anything here is super, super high ABV. Vodka, schnapps, Cointreau, champagne.
Cody, it's really putting me off that you're not annoyingly pronouncing it champagne.
Champagne. Velour.
Ah, the French champagne.
If you want to hear some really bad pronunciation, the specific type of champagne that was recommended is a Segura Vudas? V-I-U-D-A-S? Vudas?
I'm offended.
Oh no, I'm sorry, France.
Question, do we ever say what we're doing?
Yeah, this is the Deathly Hallows, Part 2.
Okay, I'm just making sure. I wasn't sure if it just sounds like we're the drink cast all of a sudden. You did a Lord of the Rings skit, and then all of a sudden you explained a drink, and everyone at home is just confused.
Look. For once, I'm on page with everyone else where I'm like, we should just jump into the program. They don't need me to explain how commentaries work. This is the 8th one in the series.
They know
Why
what
are
they
they
clicked
starting
on.
at part 2 of the ending movie?
This isn't a YouTube playlist. They didn't just get a random video on shuffle.
For all the shit I've taken over the years of over-explaining the concept of a commentary, the one time I play along and I get mud in my eye.
Cody, let's face it, we're going to give you a hard time no matter what you do.
This is
No, we want you to be on your toes. We're like your own personal Professor Zoom, making you a better podcaster.
I thought that's what the alcohol was doing.
Yeah, it's doing that too.
Loosey-goosey, folks. You always want to be loosey-goosey.
Oh, yeah. Goblins.
Oh,
Oh,
give me that
crying
grip.
Alan Rickman, telling a small boy to take his tears. Anyway, my
Headless
sexual fetishes
serpents.
aside.
Delightful. Yeah, so I think we got that out of our system, maybe. Anyways, folks, I hope you're ready. We're about to jump into The Last Harry Potter if you ignore those other ones about fantastic beasts. So, is everyone all set to kick off this jam?
I'm ready to pump up those jams.
Mike, do you fly like an eagle back to the play button?
I'm the dead twin.
How dare you make my Steve Miller joke sad? Anyways, folks. Anyways, we now have the movie queued up. Mike is about to start Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2. We are going to talk over the commentary. You are welcome to listen and watch the movie in sync with us. Or not. Again, I'm not your headmaster. Mike, you want to count us down?
1, 2, 3.
This movie automatically gets 0 stars because it doesn't start with the fucked up WB logo. It takes a second to get...
Previously on Harry Potter.
I
think
it's a part series, so it makes sense you have to have the flashback, but it still weirds me out. It's a weird formatting deal.
I think it's very important to point out that my Blu-ray, which was actually sent to me by Cody, if I haven't mentioned that before, I'm so very grateful for that. My Blu-ray for Part 2 opens with the trailer for Lego Harry Potter. That's just Voldemort making faces in a mirror and trying on a wig. And then it just cuts to this. And there is no finer prologue for this movie.
I'm really mad the HDR version doesn't do that. God damn it, 4K. Get your shit together.
Like, if I were procuring a fucking Alamo Drafthouse screening of this movie, that would be how it opens. Also, God, can we talk about how wonderful this is as a fucking, like, that shot and this as the opening of the last Harry Potter movie. Like, the corruption of that iconic fucking shot of Sorcerer's Stone with the little boats going towards Hogwarts for the first time.
Oh,
And we also get a kind of a corruption, not even a corruption, that's the wrong term for it, but Alexander Desplat's music is something new for this series where you kind of have that sad choir as the backbone of the score for this. It doesn't quite match up to a lot of the other stuff we've seen in Harry Potter, but it definitely works for that scene.
Lily's theme
Also-
is just fantastic.
Bit of a rarity here. This time around, for the last film, we finally have some continuity going with a lot of the principal technical folks. Eduardo Serra is back as the director of photography again. Alexander Desplat, as mentioned, composing. There's Dobby's corpse. You've seen that previously. We have
That
David
makes you
Yates
come
back
back.
as director. I mean, at this point, he's done half the series, so it's really David Yates or nothing here. And even Mark Day is returning as editor. I don't think we've mentioned Mark Day before, which is kind of surprising considering, an 8-film series we haven't talked about the editor. But he's been the primary editor for Harry Potter since Order of the Phoenix. And he's even done the first 2 Fantastic Beasts movies, and he even worked again with David Yates for his 2016 Legend of Tarzan. So those two are, I gotta assume, best buds.
So before we get too far away from it, I just want to say I would fucking love it if, just to fuck with people, Yates had the headstone read, "Here lies creature, a good elf."
Here lies Dobby. We didn't like him.
Just to make sure people are paying attention.
Ugh, Griphook.
Hey, face mold of Vern Troyer on Warwick Davis's face.
Still can't get over it.
Oh, it's like Littleception. God, I should point out early on, I watched this for the first time just recently. So,
Really?
yeah,
Huh.
I, for whatever reason, never got around to watching the last one of these, despite being a huge fan of the series. So,
Wow.
this is still very
They
fresh in my
probably
mind.
make it out just fine.
Honestly, I think it was just I wanted as much distance between reading the books in one go and finishing the film series as possible.
Just to
Just
mess with you, I really, really wish there was an alternate universe somewhere where they ended this on the mist note, where, spoilers, when Harry Potter is killed by Voldemort in the woods, the credits just rolled.
Ocean Man with the
Oh,
form of a lifetime racing the sand.
credits, go home, no after credit scene. You get prequels because everything's terrible after this.
One of my biggest delights in watching for this for the first time was watching this scene and being amazed that this is actually more creepy and off-putting than it was in the book. Because I've always assumed there was no way they were going to recreate this scene.
This scene specifically being Griphook?
Well, just the tone of it, because it's so out of nowhere, uncomfortable. And Griphook just comes at, he's not a Harry Potter character in this scene, in the book or the movie. He's like something, he seems like a character from Lord of the Rings or something even darker.
Yeah, they went out of their way to make the goblins just extra nasty in this one.
He's like a
Like the
mob
deal that
boss.
yeah, he's only going to help Harry Potter if he gets the sword back. Later on, we see he screws them all over just so he can keep the sword, even if it means the wizard world burns, including, I have to assume, all of his people. Uh, Not great planning by Griphook. Plus, we see hints that they torture dragons, so they really make that whole race out as a bunch of knobs.
Yeah, because that's something I thought was so genius reading the book for the first time. Returning to these like somewhat sacred images and characters from the innocent first book and showing you just how weird and nasty they actually are.
Yeah, everyone gets a little bit of dirt on this time, I think. Throughout the series, no one remains as spotless as they first appear. You get hints of that right away with Gilderoy Lockhart, where his image in the press is he's the greatest wizard ever, and then you find out he's a sham. You find out more about Dumbledore as the series goes on, that he actually has a very dark past, and really in his younger years wanted power. Uh, and that's kind of the big test for this trio. I mean, hell, Harry actually gets the three most important magical artifacts in the world in his possession at one point, and it's kind of an underplayed thing what he's going to do with them all, but it's still there. We even have hints of that with Ron, though, in the previous installment, Deathly Hallows Part 1, where he wants to kill one of the Death Eaters and he has to be talked out of that for being too drastic. So I think we get a lot of darkness in these characters and we test a lot of these characters. And in this final film, they get to prove if they're really going to bow to that pressure or if they're going to maybe not make the same mistakes that previous generations have. Or in Snape's case, just go the complete opposite direction of what you'd expect.
Yeah. There's so much beautiful fucking symmetry with this final movie and Sorcerer's Stone, despite being from a
Oh.
completely different director.
I think that's what's impressive to me about it is Yates really went out of his way to do that stuff when there's really no call for it since he didn't make that movie. He was nowhere near involved in that movie. That was also the we have no idea what the fuck we're doing yet movie, so it's even almost kind of weird to call back to it, but the it's the subtle symmetry. Like stuff like the goblins is a little bit more it's still subtle but obvious because it's like, oh, they went there and they, at the beginning of that movie went there here. You see there's just but there's also more subtle things, visual cues, little music cues that Yates slipped in there.
So throughout the movie, they're going to really not hammer in the point that wand allegiances are important, but they, I think, do a good job of seeding it throughout the whole series.
Yeah.
Ollivander right there. I sense its allegiance has changed, and he might as well just kind of like wink at the camera right there. But it happens in the first couple minutes of the movie, so you forget that. Hopefully, as the film goes on, it feels kind of like a reward when it comes up again.
And what I love is it's all referencing that first weird conversation from Sorcerer's Stone that always seemed like it was about nothing, but no, they were seeding the end of the fucking franchise.
So we've discussed the pacing here because the last film has to go through a fair number of set pieces and some big action pieces, but it kind of feels like it's slowly moving. You don't really destroy that many Horcruxes in it. Whereas in this film, let's see, what do we have left here? Tom Riddle's diary's been destroyed, but that was in Chamber of Secrets. Marvolo Gaunt's ring was destroyed by Dumbledore before Half-Blood Prince even really started. There's Slytherin's locket, which was destroyed in part one, which means we still have to find the Hufflepuff Cup. We have to get the Ravenclaw diadem necklace, diadem.
Yeah.
That bullshit.
Nagini, and even Harry Potter himself. So there's a lot for this movie to really get through. Luckily, all of these things are apparently easily located around Hogwarts, besides the cup. So after that one detour to grab that one item, we can focus on the kind of wonky shape here, where for the second half of the movie, there's like an hour-long battle. I wonder if this movie had come out a few years before it did, if that would feel more jarring. Going back to watch it now, it doesn't seem that strange because we're kind of accustomed to it. We've had films like The Avengers, and all sorts of other things where, you kind of expect that the last hour of the movie is going to be a giant battle and these kind of things. I think Pirates of the Caribbean 3 did that thing with the ships where everyone got together for two ships to battle in a whirlpool. The Two Towers. I mean, that was also another movie where the entire back half is just a giant castle siege. But imagine it's something in the 90s if they dedicated 1 hour just to a fight scene, how unusual that would seem. And how, over time, our perception of how a movie should be shaped can change. It's really interesting to me. I don't know if anyone else gives a shit, but
Well, it would have been, I think even in the 90s, it would have been seen as mindless. Or now it feels more, whenever it happens, it's more designed to be earned. And it's almost the selling point of the film. It's like, you want that. I think it stems from people getting tired of a movie building to a final battle. It's over in 10 fucking minutes. Like, they want the third act to be nothing but one giant battle.
Yeah, people are pissed if you don't end on the Avengers.
Well, here it works because we, spent 7 movies building up to just this film. You can get away with just making 1 hour a big battle. It's a miniseries at this point. So we did this joke in the last movie. Not us personally. The movie itself did this joke, where you have characters impersonating other characters and the weird acting challenge that presents. In this case, you've got Hermione playing Bellatrix. And this impersonation game is always fun, so that's good. Otherwise, I kind of roll my eyes at the fact that we literally just saw this exact same prank happen in the last movie.
I do love the subtlety of Ron asking Hermione one last time, okay, did you fuck this up? Also, can we talk about Ron Weasley as the Master from Doctor Who here?
He looks like Mirrorverse Ron in my mind.
He does.
When I was first watching this movie, I wasn't paying attention to Ron in the early scenes. So when we came here, it didn't occur to me this was probably Juice Potion. I just thought Ron grew a beard, and this was how he was going to look for the rest of the movie. I was like, fuck yeah. And then he loses it. I'm like, no.
It's not even Polyjuice. I think he just used magic
just wearing
to
a
fake
fake
a beard.
beard.
Yeah, I like that's all they did. They put him in like a kind of Hot Topic cloak, and he has a goatee.
I don't know
Like,
what's
I
weirder,
like
where they
that,
get the
though.
cloak from, or where they get Bellatrix's clothes from.
Uh,
Wait,
magic.
Is that from like the Weasleys like costume vault? Like, is Floor into some stuff?
It's the
The
S&M
cosplay,
outfit.
yeah, role play. I want you to be a dark witch for me. I'm very glad I've never had to do an acting challenge like this because one, acting seems hard enough the way it is, but two, to try and be like, okay, we need you to play yourself playing someone else who is trying not to give away that they're not who they are.
I am so impressed by the pitch perfect Emma Watson performance that Carter is giving here.
They when filming they did a pass on every bit of Hermione as Bellatrix with Emma Watson. So Carter could watch what she does and then imitate it.
I think it's the eye flutters that really sell it.
Yes.
Yeah, it really does.
And the arm crossing. Like, it's weird how the voice coming out of her mouth doesn't seem off.
Yeah, it works much better than the last time. The last movie, I mean.
Oh yeah.
Also, goddamn, Harry just used like the fucking Imperious curse on a goblin. Isn't that one of the unforgivable curses?
It is.
I mean, talking about throwing mud on your characters, Harry doesn't kill people, but he did just break, I'm assuming an important wizard law.
Yeah, but it's on a
I mean,
goblin.
Okay, they're at war.
Yeah.
And look, the
Yeah,
goblin's having a good
dark,
time of
desperate
it.
times. Until he gets eaten.
So I like dark and sinister Gringotts roller coaster ride.
I do have to say, I mean, the Harry Potter series from 3 on tried to go in a slightly more realistic world. They started wearing hoodies and stuff, and they stopped wearing pointy hats and all that. But I love when they get to this kind of weird shit where there's just a giant cavern and a weird rusty trolley system that goblins have to operate to find their gold.
For no
They were
reason.
You're playing Donkey Kong Country.
Oh God, it is. So the escalation on this set piece too, I think is really fantastic. First, we have the characters going in and they have to fake their way through the situation. They have to use the curse to get through that. Then they're on the rails, but there's the waterfall that washes away the curse, so they have to find a way through that, which Hermione saves them there. Now they have to find a way past a dragon. They do that. There's just a series of problems that are being thrown at them, and the stakes are being raised over and over again. And I love the way this little set piece operates. This would be like a fantastic payoff to a heist at the end of a movie, and this is what we're starting on.
That's what I love about this sequence is we get one last entire Harry Potter movie as the beginning of this film. Like it has what would be the third act, like the giant fucking dragon they fly off on, it's all fucking
Yeah.
tranquil and shit, and then the movie just continues going. It's like we get
This could be
one
Harry
last
Potter
adventure.
1.5, really,
Yeah.
just this year.
Yeah, I have like big time issues with modern Hollywood's obsession with following Return of the Jedi to the T for franchise endings, but this is the one example where I think that works perfectly. Like this really is just the Return of the Jedi structure, mini movie and then one big third act.
Neat little bit of character development there. They actually had Ron leading the group there instead of Harry for once.
They do a
And
lot
again,
of
I
subtle
guess
stuff
that-
with Ron in here, like that.
Yeah, I mean, here it could be the fact that he saw a dragon and he actually knows and is interested in dragons due to his family. But, I mean, the fact that he saw a dragon and walked up to it kind of shows a improvement in courage and leadership skills from the guy, considering he ran away from the group last movie. So I
thinks
like how that carries through, but it's not called out directly.
He thinks he still has that beard. It's giving him confidence.
He's got the beard and the luck. The beard must have been a magic charm. The water washed it away.
It was just drawn on.
I mean, he did look at Hermione and say, "Oh no, you look like you again."
All right, here's another really cool little bit of magic usage. The idea of a curse that when you touch something, it spawns copies of itself, and if you touch those copies, they spawn more copies of itself. It's a simple idea, but still, it seems like if I had to figure out a way to implement that design, I wouldn't know how to do it. And it makes for a surprisingly good effect, and something that's, kind of scary. It's claustrophobic, the idea that you
Yeah.
might get crushed by gold and cups.
And
I
it
don't
feels
know.
like such an old Harry Potter effect too. Like I really
Yeah.
appreciate that.
Plus, I do love the design of Gringotts so much. I mean, since, like I said before, they kind of made the effort to switch Harry Potter around and make it more realistic, they didn't do that really with Gringotts. They kept the weird outdoor or outside design of it. The inside is still all these caverns with random gold deposits in the trolley system. I like how they kept that classic and kind of old school, whimsical, magical. And I would like to point out, this is always fun. I don't know why I get such a kick out of it. Hermione was the one to fuck this up. She knocked the cup over. Whenever perfect characters are suddenly just not perfect, it's always fun.
It's nice for
After
a change.
saying Accio Horcrux, it's like I love how the franchise gave us one last really Hermione. It's like every character gets to do one of their signature stupid things in this movie. It's wonderful.
Easy does it, easy does it. Ah, popcorn!
They really do look
Ow.
tasty.
I love this Indiana Jones moment here with Harry Potter. God, Harry is such a goddamn action hero in these last two movies.
Yes.
God damn it, Grip Hook. You son of a bitch. Really, this
So
is the
long,
worst.
senor.
I don't care about Wizard Hitler. Goodbye!
Goddamn war profiteer.
I mean, it's a long-standing trope that goblins are dicks. I mean, that's like the basis of Dungeons and Dragons. Like, how many goblins can you murder to level up and grind through this game? But it's always weird to me that that's still the thing. Like, goblins are just always dicks. Lord of the Rings, goblins, bad, kill them all, they're worthless. Harry Potter, they're just evil, shitty bankers, even when you think one of them might be alright. Also, goodbye, dude.
You killed that man.
I love Ron's reaction there. Just, that's unfortunate.
Also, I love the fucking wizard cops
I know. I love it so much.
with their whimsical security guard outfits.
Breeze or whimsy. Let me be honest. I think this
So
is a
make us be
terrible plan on
delightful in here.
Hermione's part.
More dead goblins. So if you ever make your way down to the Wizarding World of Harry Potter, they kind of have this scene immortalized. When you go into the Wizarding World section, they have a replica of Hogwarts, but they also have like a Gringotts with this dragon perched on top of it, and occasionally it just spouts flame. And
Oh,
when you
awesome.
walk in and you see that, it's just so cool. It's like, wow, they really put a lot of money into this. And even as an adult, you kind of like just are gobsmacked when you walk around a corner and you see in the distance Hogwarts and then a dragon much closer to you that's occasionally spitting real flame. I would really recommend it, even if you're an adult, even if you're going by yourself. It's such a trip to go through and check all that stuff out. Even if you have to wait in line 10 minutes to get a goddamn pumpkin juice, it's such a good time.
Oh, it's my life goal to go to the wizarding world of Harry Potter and buy nothing. Like that would prove that I have iron will. You should get an achievement for being able to do that.
Yeah, I did all of my gift shopping for friends and family back home when I went there. I went to the smaller one out in California. Actually, I think like the big cool one is Florida, but the one I went to, they still have the Hogwarts and all the rides and all that kind of stuff. But they have a gift shop where you can buy chocolate frogs, the every flavor beans, T-shirts, all that kind of shit. So yeah, I bought a bunch of swag and none of it was for me. It made me very sad when I realized I went home with nothing for myself.
Just the memories, Cody.
Just the great Instagram photos. Worth it for the likes.
So, God, the last time we see Harry, Ron, and Hermione ride something whimsically.
That's actually the post-credit scene they originally designed. They were all going to get on a cat bus and then go to Wizard post-grad school. Do you think they have Wizard doctorate degrees you can go earn? Like advanced degrees in magic, you have to spend like another 7 years earning?
No, we covered this. Everything's a racket.
How does lawyering work in the wizard world? Is that like extra education, or do you just kind of go, well, I took my 7 years of basic education, I can be a lawyer now?
There's no
Well,
lawyers.
Prentice
Everyone's
is.
just, if you're accused of a crime, you're just immediately executed.
That's
You have
true.
to you have to hope Dumbledore comes down and saves your ass.
Plus, in this world, if you make a binding contract, it is literally binding. If you break it, you will just die. Actually, yeah, they probably don't need lawyers as much in this world. They just would magic kill you.
I, I like to think that it's just like Rick and Morty. You just get defended by a lawyer clone of yourself.
Okay. So, throughout the series, they've played up the fact that Harry's got some sort of soul connection to Voldemort, which they typically express just through a series of flashbacks, but they've done it consistently throughout the later films, enough where it doesn't feel like a cheat when something like this happens and shows Harry like the next 9 steps he needs to do in his plan. I like that because it'd been very, very easy for these flashes to just feel like, all right, they just want us to move on to the next big action beat without having them to actually figure it out, like just lazy writing. But instead, it's a developed character trait. It kind of plays into the ending here since we know Harry and Voldemort are really connected. It works.
I think it also helps that the what Harry takes away from the flashes aren't just information he's getting that's relevant to the plot. Like having him immediately just go into stuff about what's going through Voldemort's head at the time.
Yeah,
I think softens the exposition part of it.
hmm for sure. Do wizards not have a spell for drying clothes?
It's really bothering me. Like you're still soaking wet. You're just now your dry clothes are also Hermione doing busy work instead of changing.
But of course, it has like 14 buttons.
Thank God I have this shawl. We didn't have enough special effects budget to show them drying their hair with a magic hair dryer.
Meanwhile, this fucking shot, which feels like out of a weird European horror film or something.
Voldemort's feet are going to be so sticky.
That's like syrup.
God, Voldemort loves his snake so much. His best fucking friend.
You're my best friend.
Girlfriend with sofa.
Well, you've seen those photos from Fantastic Beasts.
Ooh.
Does anyone notice the goblin with the sword? Nope. Okay, never mind. It's fine.
That was weird.
I,
Like, hey, wait a minute.
I love how fucking useless Voldemort's inner circle is because they all just want to leave.
Okay, so I can't add too much to this point because a great video just came out about it. But if you go onto YouTube and look up the Nerd Writer, uh, just yesterday he released a
Yes.
video called Harry Potter: What Magic Sounds Like, talking
Oh,
about the
it's so
fact
good.
that in Harry Potter they had to go through and sound design everything. Like they had to start from scratch. In the book, it probably doesn't decide what each magical spell is going to sound like. In this case, they have the magic alarms in Hogsmeade that sound like screeching cats. What a clever little bit of design. I love that detail. It feels very Harry Potter. Instead of the modern loud screeching alarm, it's cat noises. It's so archaic. I really dig what they did with that. And you have to pay attention to all the spells because they've kind of given each one a unique identity. Again, I would really highly recommend just listening to that video. It's only something like 10 minutes long, just to get a better appreciation of all the hard work that's going into the sound design in these films. It's super impressive.
That stuff that you forget about, like all the design work that would go into this gigantic fucking series. And when you actually pay attention, stuff like the Battle of Hogwarts seems so much more difficult than it already felt to pull off because you start noticing that everyone's throwing different spells that each sound different. Every explosion sounds different. Everything sounds different, but there's so many layers in it.
It's very easy to overlook because, after you've seen the movies a few times, you're like, oh, that's what Expecto Patronum sounds like. It's kind of that angelic choir noise. That's duh. But before this movie came out, if someone asked you to describe what that spell sounded like, you'd probably be like, magic, like a thwip? I don't know. What does magic sound like? Think of like Star Wars. If you never saw Star Wars and someone made you describe what a laser blaster sounded like, you'd be clueless. But because of Star Wars, we all have that concrete idea of what a blaster should sound like in our head now.
So, God, can we talk about how good of a fucking job Syrian Hines is doing of playing the brother of Dumbledore? So well
I
that until the fucking close-up, I just thought that was Gambon in
I
different
didn't.
makeup.
Yeah, I thought the same thing for years. I only realized that wasn't the case actually when I watched the movie this time. Like, wait a minute, that's a Game of Thrones motherfucker.
I have to say, it does make infinitely more sense than him just being his twin brother and no one ever noticing that the barkeep in Hogsmeade is the spitting image of Dumbledore.
I mean, I feel like the books made a bigger deal about the fact that Harry was looking into the mirror and really thought it was Dumbledore on the other side. They kind of non-verbally hint that in the movies, but I don't think it comes out with the same force as the books. But hey, that's just how it is. You have more freedom on the page to do that kind of stuff.
This plot point is very, very weird in the movies.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm still a little bit of a head scratcher on it, honestly.
they treat him as a minor character. I mean, it's not like he's the most important character of the book, but they in the book they raise Harry's hopes that with that shard of mirror he might be seeing Dumbledore, and maybe Dumbledore still has some magic in the world that could help them out, and he's holding out hope for that. But then he finds out it's just Dumbledore's disillusioned brother who's living in Hogsmeade, who is pretty much here just to reveal more dark backstory about Dumbledore's past. So it's not the most important thing. It's just a detail that makes the book feel a little bit richer.
Yeah, watching this the first time, I was very surprised that they just don't go into detail about any of this and leave it ambiguous. I honestly kind of like that.
Yeah. I mean, we get the sense that Dumbledore wasn't as perfect as we thought, but I think it enforces the idea of lust for power more with the Deathly Hallows if we see more of Dumbledore not being perfect. The Ariana stuff goes to enforce that, and the movie doesn't have time to do a lot of things. They get the lip service right here with the my brother sacrificed many things. I don't know. I understand. They just don't have hundreds of pages to devote to every single topic. They got to keep this movie rolling. And they still get the main point across where Dumbledore wasn't as amazing and perfect as we thought. So, woo, growing up, kind of shitty, kind of dark. Before we leave Hogsmeade, I would like to say, greatest Christmas vacation spot in the world. I would gladly blow off seeing my family for Christmas. I'd send them a card like, I love you, Mom and Dad and Abby, so much. I'm going to live in this perfect Christmas village instead. This is where I will be for the next 3 weeks.
Oh, it's like my fucking dream that one day somebody will make the Shire as a vacation spot.
Oh,
They have
yeah.
those hobbit holes in storage.
I would totally do that. I would live in a hobbit hole for like a bed and breakfast vacation.
So God, fucking action movie, Neville Longbottom, my favorite thing in the world.
In my notes, I put it down as, oh, hey, sexy Neville.
They can't even hide it. He's in too much of the movie.
Yep, they're like, fuck it, just throw the fat suit out, get rid of the fake teeth. He's just fucking handsome now. He's goddamn it, he's tall, charming.
He's just the star of the
Debonair.
movie now. Fuck Harry.
He
My-
takes over the film now. The prophecy's been switched, motherfucker.
Just takes out a
My
fucking
head-
Uzi and guns Voldemort down.
My headcanon is, for the movie, they just, like, Neville just did the thing Hermione did in Prisoner of Azkaban in the books, where she just made herself hot with magic. Like, he's just been slowly de-long-bottoming himself over the course of each movie.
Slowly been purging myself of the ugh. Oh, everyone, it's a series first. Everyone at Hogwarts is not pissed off to see Harry Potter.
The pleasant change of pace.
It took 8 movies, but we finally turned it around.
The glory.
In the background, it's a reprise of one of the classic Potter themes. Actually, a bit of a rarity in this movie. A lot of the times throughout the film, we'll hear bits of classic Potter score, but they'll be slowed down, maybe pitched a little bit differently, or the instrumentation will be pared back. and they get a little bit more full as the movie goes along. But this violates that trend. This is full on, hey, check it out. It's some music you love and remember. This is an important moment.
Yeah, not to get not to read too much into it, but there's so many moments like that in this movie and in Deathly Hallows Part 1 as well that remind me of those moments you get as you go into your late 20s and early 30s where you're in locations you remember from your childhood, you're around people you've known all your life, and you think back on your childhood and you can't imagine that this is the same place and these are the same people because everything looks so much different. Everything's changed so much. And then you just get those sudden moments where something from your childhood rushes back to you and it's like, oh yeah, I see the continuity here. Like this is the same place. These are the same people. This is part of the same story.
I'm always
Time kind of made me forget that.
Yeah, I'm always amazed at how low to the ground the drinking fountains are in my middle school. You go to pick up my nephew from school or something, be like, why is everything here made for little people? Oh, right, all the little people.
All of those freaks.
Oh, right, Ginny. And look at Harry's acting.
Oh, you survived. Goody.
Oh, young love.
Let's mash our faces together.
I don't think Harry even said anything to Ginny in that scene.
No. Well,
God, the chemistry is just not there. It makes me so sad.
At my grocery store, there is this a pale redheaded chick who's always bagging at like one aisle, and she's always just staring off, emotionless. And it finally hit me. It's fucking Ginny.
Having been that person before, I can say, yes, Ginny has the expression of a grocery store bagger whose soul has left her body. Turn your textbooks to page... Oh.
Snape, Severus.
I was wondering if we'd ever reference that in these commentaries.
It's a little sad. We find out Snape's a good guy, and the only time he gets to run the school is when he's forced to play the role of a megamaniacal asshole, so everyone would hate him.
You know he kind of likes some of the evil aspects of the school, though, because things are getting done.
I mean, I feel like he would run the school probably somewhat similarly if he were in charge anyways, without having, like, dark wizards behind him forcing him to behave in certain ways.
That's the thing I find fascinating about Snape as a character, which is he's really not a good guy. There's nothing really saying he's not still a Death Eater at heart, and that he's renounced any of that stuff. He just feels bad he got Lily killed, so he's doing this as penance.
That's fair.
Like I always really appreciate how Rowling didn't go full redemption with him and reveal, like, no, he was the true hero of the films. Like, no, he's still totally Professor Snape.
That does not stop fans from dreaming about him.
He's an asshole. He's not evil. It's like me.
This is how you would run an English boarding school. Now, so the glory.
I was hiding here all along.
No,
Yes, we know. You're the only one with your hood up. Yeah. Hey, it's the Order.
What remains?
Remember when they had a whole film named after them and they, like, were not a presence in that film and that was weird? Spill!
Oh my God,
shit.
Maggie Smith is going to do something.
According to some of the trivia on IMDb, which can always be trusted, originally they were thinking they wanted to switch this from the book and have Harry and Snape fight, but then J.K. Rowling insisted no, McGonagall should get her cool action beat. And I'm sure everyone in the world has mentioned this 1,000 times, but Snape does take that in a total defensive way, where he doesn't attack, he only deflects spells, and he uses it to knock out his two caretakers behind him. I'm sure everyone's seen that detail, but I have to say it by contract.
It's true.
WB.
We are a film analysis commentary. We have to bring it up, no matter what.
Yeah.
I like to think that Rickman was just that scared of Maggie Smith.
They do put that little bit of hesitation in there, like he doesn't want to directly attack her. You can interpret that how you want. Is he afraid of her? Is he trying to think of how to play the situation out? He seems more than willing to beat the shit out of Harry Potter, but when it comes to McGonagall, he's like,
He respects and likes McGonagall a lot. It's always something that's very clear when you rewatch the films. So it kind of adds to that moment. He would kill Harry, though.
I mean, he drew first on Harry. He actually wanted to initiate that fight.
He is the last Horcrux. He'd be doing everyone a favor.
No,
So
Dumbledore told him he has to die at the right time.
I love how quickly that moment of triumph is over, by the way.
Mhm. Well, from this point on, the movie has to goddamn start trucking. So Voldemort announces he's showing up to kick ass. Harry Potter has to go find the next Horcrux. They have to destroy the cup. They have to fight the Battle of Hogwarts. They have to find a way to kill Nagini. They have to resolve the other Deathly Hallows, because Harry only has the invisibility cloak. He doesn't have the stone. Well, I guess he does have the stone. He just doesn't, have it in hand yet because it's still inside the snitch. But he doesn't have the Death Wand. There's a lot of stuff to get through here in slightly over an hour. I'm helping. I'm Ginny.
If you want Harry Potter, you'll have to go through Ginny first. Ah!
So on
Ron, he's being
Tumblr-
protected by that sociopath. Sorry.
Hooray! Filch gets a comedy moment.
Yay! Hey, weren't you evil that one time?
Oh.
Okay, this doesn't happen for like 5 more hours, but I just want to point out my favorite little detail in this movie is that Filch gets battle damage, and I want to see the scene where that fucking happened.
What did Filch
Like he had to
do?
protect his cat from a Death Eater.
Okay, this bothers me. Why
That
does
all the
all of
Slytherins
Slytherin
go
have
to
to
the
be
dungeon.
punished?
Because they were kind of being dicks. But no, if you look on Tumblr, you'll actually find tons of people have brought that same point up. I know Tumblr's probably not the most loved place in the world, but I think they had some fair points that if you take 25% of your student body and just make them the permanent bad guys and always characterize them as the bad guys and then send them to the dungeon in the one fight against evil wizard kind, you're not doing much to stop stereotyping. You're really just making that a permanent part of your school's history. Everyone who goes to Slytherin is just going to act unethically because that's what's expected of them, so they might as well prove the point.
Yeah, Slytherin makes no fucking sense.
Yeah. But to be honest, I think this entire series is bullshit.
I am sad that we do not get the scene of McGonagall dramatically asking Horace Slughorn to decide if his loyalties are with House Slytherin or with Dumbledore.
And it's Slughorn, so he just fumbles over his words a lot and sits down. Good action, Luna, there.
So here's some fan favorite moments I have to assume from the movie. 1, Neville getting to be a kind of action hero. 2, McGonagall taking charge, and the statues around Hogwarts coming to life to be badass sentries. And Broadbrent in the background drinking away.
And McGonagall said, boom. Maggie Smith said that.
It's a fun moment for the adult cast. Normally they have to play off the children, but here they get their own little moments.
It's very nice.
I thought this is McGonagall's fucking action movie.
Yeah,
oh
the
God,
combination of
Wishmaster.
the combination of all this in the theater was surprisingly emotional for me. Just the bit of score, McGonagall's reactions to this, the statues coming to life, all of it worked like perfectly for me in theaters. I was the perfect mark here. Oh, she said the line. Maggie Smith, what a treasure.
Fucking
I also
heroism
love
of
that
Warwick Davis here, by the way.
I love these 3 characters having this moment.
If I'm remembering right, in the books, didn't they make Slughorn sit in the dungeon with the rest of the Slytherins?
No, no, he dramatically proclaimed that his loyalty was with Hogwarts.
Ah, all right. Good for him.
He does more than Trelawney, who just throws a crystal ball off of a balcony and runs away.
I was gonna say they must not have had the budget to bring everyone back because Trelawney's nowhere to be seen in this movie.
Oh, she's in there. She's in literally one shot. I think she's the one like bandaging up Filch in that one scene.
Ah,
Yeah,
okay.
you see her like running through the battle and stuff. That's about it.
Yeah, I think because of Nanny McPhee Returns, they had her for like literally a couple of hours.
This is a neat little beat too. We've got Luna actually yelling at Harry to fucking listen because it's important. In the past movie, we even saw Luna like trying to get Harry's attention and being like, "Oh, you're thinking about something else. Goodbye," and just walk off. It's a nice little bit of character writing that they're like, no, she can stand up for herself when she knows it's important.
Yeah.
Hooray, side characters getting stuff to do.
Yeah.
Look at that mustache.
Double paycheck.
I want this to be recut like it's an anime, and while Flitwick is casting that spell, we get a dramatic flashback to Sorcerer's Stone Flitwick, who also became sexy between movies.
I like to think that was Flitwick Sr. and he died of a heart attack and his son just took over. So I don't know where to bring this up, so it's going here. One of the weird things to think about this movie series is we really got a majority of the cast to stick through all 8 movies. That's amazing. If you go back and read all the gossip, you'll see the principal cast thought a lot of times, like maybe around movies 4 or 5, they were going to be done. They were going to call it good and they could let somebody else round out the film series. And it never happened. They always found ways, probably just shitloads of money, to draw everyone back in. And they did something very strange where they didn't have to really mess around with the core continuity besides Dumbledore, and that was unavoidable because dude died. But even think about just what a weird situation it must have been when they started making the last Harry Potter and decided, no, these will be a 2-parter. Because contract-wise, those are 2 films, and you probably had everyone signed up through movie 7, and now you have to convince them to extend their contract for 1 more film.
Yeah.
Like, I have no idea how much the principal cast made making these movies, but I'm sure they never have to work another day in their life if they were happy with that money.
Oh,
like, they're all multimillionaires for sure.
The amount I envy the kid who plays fucking Seamus Finnegan.
I'm sure he made a great paycheck too, and the residuals, that's like 8 movies he's in for like seconds that he still gets some money.
And he always has a line.
I'm trying to look this up now because I'm super curious how much money Daniel Radcliffe made as Harry Potter.
Look at Bellatrix being a hype man back there.
This is her moment to shine. This is her Woodstock.
Okay, so just a quick search here. Apparently, Radcliffe made $145,000 for the first Harry Potter, then $3 million for the second Harry Potter. So I can only imagine what he made by the last Harry Potter. In the third movie, he made $6 million. It just kept going up. Fourth movie's $11 million, then $14 million. And then he made about $20 million each for both halves of Deathly Hallows. So by doubling the movie, they essentially had to pay him twice, which makes sense. But that's another $20 million in the bank for Daniel Radcliffe. So, according to this article from 2016, Daniel Radcliffe is worth around $110 million.
That's why he can do shit like Horns and Swiss Army Man. He's got enough money to last him forever, so he can do weird indie shit.
Right?
Also, I just want to say this for the last time in this commentary series. Hey, character we've never seen before.
Oh, right, the ghosts are important. It's probably a good thing they included those in the first 2 movies.
It's still bullshit they could not get nearly headless Nick back for one scene.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just CGI John Cleese. He doesn't have to talk.
It worked great for the Battle of Five Armies. Oh no, that wasn't John Cleese. Who was that? It's
No
gone
one's seen it,
forever.
so we'll never know.
He played one of the dwarfs. He was all CGI. It was terrible.
That motherfucker.
Yep. Shit, it's gone forever. Sorry.
But you bring up a good point, Cody, which is what a fucking Herculean effort this series is for reaching 8 fucking movies in the short amount of time it was able to come to completion, to not lose cast members, even of background actors, and have them there so you actually have some kind of emotional connection to people you just see in the background with no lines since the first film. We'll never see that again. You don't even really see that with the MCU, and
No.
They immediately recast people.
Yeah,
they're
it's all here.
Well, that was earlier on. I mean, I don't know if they'd be as willing to do it now that they're so established. Because, I mean, they did the Hulk thing back, that was their second movie. You know, after Iron Man was the Incredible Hulk, and sure, why not? The Hulk's not that big. We can recast. He's a side character now.
Yeah, but
I don't know if they would do that at this point.
Marvel treats its supporting characters like they're not important, though. Okay, anybody
yeah,
in a Thor movie.
Yeah, they would just write those guys out rather than recast, I think. Like Rhodey, they'd probably be like, we don't need Iron or War Machine. We'll just forget there's War Machine.
What's funny is the only reason fucking Crab isn't in this movie is because the dude got arrested.
Yeah.
Oh, is that it?
Yep.
Oh, well,
He's apparently a bad dude.
now my joke about Blaze is less funny. Hey, this is fun. We get to see essentially Ron and Harry being the clever boys this time around instead of Hermione telling them what to do or leaving the hints.
Ron's so useful.
He's very useful in this movie.
Beard power. No one has told Ron that his appearance has changed since that scene.
I want a special edition where he just has that goatee the entire time.
Oh God, if they ever do, like we've talked about, like do a Harry Potter series years down the line, can Ron have a badass physical transformation? Like I feel like he's the character who would need it the most.
He pulls an Agent 21 or Henchman 21. No, they burned down the Quidditch pitch.
He just has a tattoo on his chest that says sweaters.
Quidditch is one of those things where I don't know if you actually need really any of the field there. It's all played in the air. The people could really just bring lawn chairs. Oh,
You don't
shit,
need
they're
it.
dead.
But honestly, I'm glad to see it burn to the fucking ground.
I like this Infinity War scene here.
Hey guys, remember the second movie? That was a fun time.
I love how Deathly Hallows Part 2 is the cinematic equivalent of the ending of any Halo game. It's one long victory lap.
Okay, this feels a little unfair. Like, one, they're in a crunch for time, but Ron's like, this has to be a teaching lesson. Hermione, you must destroy this cup. Also, she gets a way easier time of this. Like,
It's a little unfair.
Ron
she
got a
doesn't-
gigantic, scary CGI cloud that had his best friends naked and making out in it.
He had a
Hermione
character arc
gets-
he had to complete. She just has
Yeah,
to stab
Hermione's
this
like-
fucking thing.
Stab the cup that's shaking. Uh-oh, now there's water.
Oh wait, Voldemort's about to go with the mummy though. That's cool.
I mean, come on. They should have at least been like, hey, your parents, they don't remember you, but they'd be sad because you're bad at being a kid. Something.
Now they're fucking.
Now they're fucking, they're happier without you. Anything. Instead she just stabs a cup. But we finally get this.
Okay, guys. Do you think the reason Ron went so long without kissing her was because he could only get off if Salazar Slytherin was watching?
Damn it! I was thinking. God damn it! I was building to that joke.
He gave her the lizard's tongue. No, I think it was just so he's like, he could always make Chamber of Secrets jokes about their sex life from that point on. Like, there's
Well,
a 15-minute time gap where they fuck for the first time right there.
Oh, he speaks parcel tongue, all right.
Look, it's these characters that have interacted for like 3 seconds but love each other deeply. Oh, it's done. Oh, sorry, my joke was longer than their interaction.
The important thing is we've seen more of them than Mad Eye Moody.
Oof.
Okay, I'm very curious because I don't know if I just missed this or not. There's the line later on where Harry's like, "But Lupin, what about your child?" Is
No,
that
it's
the
very
first
confusing.
time they mention that they have a baby?
No,
In
they
part
cut
one,
off Tonks. Yeah.
yeah. But there was a deleted scene from part one that had it, I think. It was either scripted or I think it was filmed, though.
It was
But yeah, they just
filmed,
have
I
the
think.
cut off line, and then you have to try to remember that, oh yeah, that was a line that was cut off, hinting at that. And a year has passed since that cut off line, even though
Yeah.
it was just one movie, but
So yeah, like Tonks is holding her stomach. He's like, "Hey, we have news," and then Harry's like, "Shut up, there's magic happening." Or sorry, Mad Eye I think does that. And then they just move on past it. So the book fans are like, "Aha, they're doing the thing from the books."
There's a lot you have to infer with these movies. Also,
eh.
why did you taunt them?
You didn't need to
You
be
brought
there,
this all
Neville.
on yourself, you
Come on,
fucking
action,
idiot.
Neville. You've grown handsome but dumb.
But it is funny with like stuff like that. As kind of amazing as these films are, they're not even necessarily perfect adaptations, though.
Oh
Yeah.
no.
Like they're full of stuff, even adaptation aside, like weird lines like that, like Tonks and Lupin's kid. Just as a movie, that's just fucking weird.
Well, it's just kind of a
Yeah.
running joke at this point. Like, hey, it's this character, and they're gone. And even people who haven't read the books can probably infer, like, oh, I bet that was probably a deeper character thing, and they just gave us the cliff notes.
Speaking of, I was very, very surprised watching this that Hagrid's brother isn't a part of this battle. Literally, the only reason that character is introduced on Order of the Phoenix is so Hogwarts can have a giant battling the other giants. So
Yeah,
that
they got
scene
enough
is
CGI.
weirder.
Yes.
It's the less we reference that character, the better, honestly. That movie just didn't happen.
I'm very glad in this scene we actually get to see the Order kicking some ass.
Thank God.
God, I love that shot so fucking much. This
Yates
mini
fucking
Avengers moment.
yeah, Yates fucking went bananas with this shit. So I just get so puzzled about. I mean, of course, I've only seen the first Fantastic Beasts at this point, the time of recording this, but where it just feels so bland the way like the direction of Fantastic Beasts, and you watch this, and this is fucking masterful.
That's right. It's the last Harry Potter. Everyone must kith.
The passion.
Harry loves Ginny. Ginny loves Harry. Goodbye.
Honestly, Ginny and Neville had more chemistry in that bridge scene than she's ever had with Harry.
So earlier in the series, they mentioned that no one can apparate inside of Hogwarts Castle, but we clearly just see Draco apparate inside. I'm pushing my glasses up because you guys can't see that.
Dumbledore was
Uh,
lying.
the most I could say is they broke the protection spell around Hogwarts, and apparently that just broke everything else. I think it's just a silly bit of continuity they missed.
Honestly, we did see Dumbledore apparate in Half-Blood Prince and then mock the idea of there being an apparition blocker. So I'm going to go on Mike's side. Dumbledore lies.
Also true. Another moment for Ron. Actually, Hermione really gets shortchanged in this movie. Ron's the one to figure out, like, hey, I bet he disappeared because he went into that magic room that's never on the map. Hey, remember Blaze? You probably do because I mentioned him earlier because that was supposed to be a setup for a joke before I found out a guy was like a convicted felon.
I mean, you could have still laid and was waiting for the joke.
No, that's it. Just remember Blaze was in a previous movie, so now he's Draco's number two. He changed his auto, like his fuck. I don't know how to make this a reference that doesn't sound like it's 100 years old. Remember MySpace where you could rank your friends?
God
Draco
damn,
just
Cody.
bumped Goyle down. I'm old.
what I like is
MySpace? Maybe I should just say it that way.
what I like is I forgot about that character being in Order of the Phoenix. I mean, being in Half-Blood Prince. So for a split second, I was like, did they recast Goyle with a black dude for the very last movie?
Is that progressive
How
if they
odd.
recast him as just an eviler dude that gets like destroyed by fire? I don't know. Also, fun fact about this, again going back to the trusty IMDb, the room of requirement is apparently filled exclusively with old props from previous Harry Potter films. Like they just took all the crates of props they had been holding onto and just dumped it into this room. So you could consider those Easter eggs. If you look around closely, you'll see all sorts of stuff from previous in the films.
What I like is they kept all this shit but threw away the Chamber of Secrets.
That was a little weird. Like when Ron and Hermione are kissing, it just feels like such a green screen moment.
The greens, it's weird. This movie is filled with incredible effects, and then there's some green screen moments that are absolutely awful. We're coming up to one soon.
The broom riding stuff?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, good. I'm not
Tragic.
the only one who thought that looked real rough.
Tragic.
Just an entire scene of Captain America running underneath that fucking plane.
I would like to mention the budget for this movie was reportedly $250 million. It could have been higher because they never report like the accurate numbers. For this film alone, not for this and the other one, this singular 2-hour movie was $250 million. A staggering amount even now, years after this has come out. Then again, I think Spider-Man 3 had a similar budget, so, you do what you can.
Once upon a time, Spider-Man 3 was the most expensive movie ever made. It's a hell of a thought.
I mean, the Sandman stuff was beautiful. I will say that much. At least the scene where Sandman is forming for the first time. That was some impressive CGI.
Oh, yes.
Kill it!
Harry Potter's arch nemesis, a mountain of chairs.
I saw a Twitter joke the other day that just said Harry Potter is the trust fund kid who grew up to be a cop, and I haven't been able to get that out of my head since. Kind of ruined the whole thing for me, really. I think it was supposed to humanize trust fund kids that grow up to be cops, but instead I'm like, Harry Potter, what a dick. What spell was this motherfucker casting? Like, what did Goyle do to set this worst possible fire charm? Like, he just burnt. This is the thing that's destroying California right now. How did he do this by accident?
He cast Die in a Fire.
I like how Goyle is just randomly the most evil person in this series out of nowhere.
He's had this horrible dragon spell lurking inside his soul. I can't turn off my flamethrower.
Also, God, do I love the requirement during this scene. It actually looks like it goes on forever. It's not just mirrors.
Oh, yeah.
For once.
In this scene, it literally looks like it just could be everything you ever needed. It's that room from Indiana Jones. Like, all the magic artifacts are inside of here. So credit to Yates for adjusting and overcoming maybe a limitation on his previous work.
Yeah.
Hey, Ron came up with another clever idea. This is Ron's goddamn movie.
No, he's Braun when he has the beard.
Braun. My favorite Game of Thrones character.
Braun Weasel.
Oh no, that guy's dead. Thank God Blaze will be alright.
Just Blaze.
For years I thought Blaze died, but I mean Ron picks him up and I think he throws him out of the room before everything goes up. They just don't bother showing him after that. I'm gonna try and pay better attention here. I'm pretty sure Blaze survives.
He does.
He does.
God, Draco is just having a bad fucking day.
Well, he kind of deserves it. Hey, look, some green screen. Oh, and some
Oh, tragic.
motion tracking.
Tragic.
Mm.
It's
Oh,
like, you know
boy.
what? This is how dedicated we are to symmetry and referencing the entire series. We're gonna go back to the bad CGI from the first film. This is all on
One
purpose.
last time.
See? Okay, look it. When Harry stabs
Why
one
is
again,
Ron the only one who has
evil-
to deal with a character arc at the last minute?
the horrible flames come out of there. Like there's a dark, noxious smoke that Harry has to fight. Ron's got to kick it away. Hermione gets out of this one for free. What is the deal?
I love triple mort there, by the way.
Nagini, I'm not feeling so good.
I want so badly for Voldemort in this moment to have a fucking army of darkness. Oh! Ooh! He is essentially just badass.
He really is. Yeah, I just realized that.
Salifora!
Oh, that guy's dead. I missed a couple of my notes here, so I just want to read them out quickly. One, we hinted at the wand issue again, with Draco shouting that he needed his wand back from Harry. Or maybe that's coming up here. I don't know anymore. I'm confused.
It passed.
But that was nice. Okay, good. Also, when I mentioned Goyle's spell, I thought this was clever, so I'm going to read it again. What goddamn spell did Goyle cast? Napalm? Hey, I'll be here all week.
Cody's drunk.
No, it's only the double.
I know. Also, one thing I want to bring up, we've throughout all the films, but particularly the Yates films, we keep talking about the cinematography and the color grading specifically. I'm fascinated by the color tones of this film because it does line up with part one, but the cinematography and the colors are still different from part one. I don't know if that came about after they split it up, or I don't know how that was supposed to work otherwise.
I think the big change is when they get back to Hogwarts, it's a little less washed out.
Yeah.
It's not, I wouldn't say colorful in any way, but the earth tones are stronger and represented more like you'd expect. And I think it's just the idea of when they're back at Hogwarts, they're allowed to do that. And even I would argue when Harry is out in the woods, when he decides he's going to come to Voldemort, the color grading changed a little bit there, and it's not as earthy as it is now, like right in the scene. I would say from memory, and as a colorblind person, partially colorblind person, that it gets a little bit more washed out like we saw in part one. So maybe that's how they just film areas that aren't Hogwarts, or
Possible.
maybe that's my imagination. Right here, it's hard to say because they're next to a fire, so I understand why everything's orange.
Yeah. Oh, one thing I do appreciate though is throughout the series we've watched the colors become very grayer and the saturation be toned down quite a bit. And then you see this, like, it's fucking occasionally this movie erupts into a cavalcade of colors. Like it's back to one of the original films. And I really appreciate that since it is the last film to kind of allow the series to return to its more colorful roots, but still with the mature tone. Like this is more down to earth with how it's filmed specifically, where it feels more real, but it's engulfed in the spiders. It's engulfed in like these incredibly bright tones, especially when the daytime portion of the battle. And there's greens and reds flying around, and I really like that.
Oh, hey, it's Fenrir. Oh, goodbye, Lavender. Yeah, the movie's a real treat to watch in 4K HDR. Basically, anytime there's a spell, it really pops on the screen. When they do the protective spell over Hogwarts, it really makes it worthwhile to have the movie in the highest definition. That looks super dope. This looks amazing, too. Some of the other films don't quite get this in HDR, so, you probably don't need to upgrade from Blu-ray. But this one, it's worth it. Hey, look! It's the other Dumbledore.
This is kind of, probably, for what a lot of the films were going for, with trying to make the world more real while still filled with the fantastical. This film probably nails it better than any of the previous ones, and ones have nailed it pretty damn well. Of course, Azkaban, Goblet, but this is incredible looking.
Yeah, well, even if you go back to that last scene as we were running through the battle quick, we got to see stuff like wizards casting spells like chains or knocking people through walls. We got to see everything from giants, trolls, spiders, dementors. There was Fenrir Greyback for a second. Death Eaters all battling at the same time, and you really get all the Harry Potter creatures we've seen before out there at one moment. It's great that they're kind of unleashing themselves.
Yeah.
And then you get that big action scene paired with a very small, intimate, emotional scene. I don't know if emotional is the right way to say this. I mean, a lot of people were sad when Snape died. Intimate because it's just two of them.
This is about as emotional as Alan Rickman gets.
It's an intense scene for sure.
Oh
And
yeah.
it has fines, so that's always a plus.
God. It is sad that this is about as much as we get to see Rickman and Fiennes playing off each other, because this is fucking delightful.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Talk about polar opposite energies.
So to go back to the scene we just breezed past with all the creatures fighting, I think in most other big battle movies, there would be a lot of mini bosses we just saw, like the giant troll that's swinging along, like the giant pitchfork kind of deal. That'd be a mini boss, kind of like the elephants in Return of the King or the Black Order in Infinity War, the Nazgul. Instead, we just breeze past all those guys. The most we get is, oh no, goodbye, Snape. The most we get is Fenrir, the werewolf getting knocked out a window, kind of unceremoniously. It's not even really a fight. Also, I think it's a neat touch that Voldemort's big fuck up here is his interpretation of the word defeat. He doesn't pick up that Snape lied to him, just that he thinks the only way to win the Elder Wand is to kill the previous owner. In his mind, if you have to defeat the previous owner, that means you have to kill them. So he kills what he believes to be his best general, just so he can get control over the wand. I mean, if this had actually gone out the way he imagined it, he could have just been like, hey, give me that, and yanked it from his hands if he interpreted things a little more loosely and less violently, and he would have controlled the Elder Wand. And he would have had to kill his top lieutenant. But instead, he lives without love, so he has to murder the dude. I mean, in reality, he's fucked either way, because Voldemort didn't have Snape in his pocket like he thought.
I'm curious what you guys think of this. Do you think that Voldemort killed Snape this way instead of just using the Avada Kedavra as a sign of respect? That he's not going to kill them the way he kills people thoughtlessly throughout his life? Or do you see this as more of a punishment because Snape was so powerful and was the only one who matched him as a figurehead in the Death Eaters?
I take mine a little bit closer to nitty-gritty fan stuff. One, he's the first attack to weaken Snape by cutting his throat, and then he asked Nagini to kill Snape because if he went into a straight-up wand battle, didn't he believe that Snape was the last owner of the wand and therefore would beat him in a duel?
Yeah.
That was my
use the
interpretation.
wand.
I don't know if that's correct. Is the idea that, you can't kill Snape straight up in a magic battle. So if he has Nagini finish the job and just weakens Rickman, practically he can get it done that way. That's how I've always interpreted it, but I don't know. Oh, give me that Dutch angle. Harry's
I
being
love
overcome
the
with
amount of fucking
emotion.
Deutsch angles in this movie.
There's a couple hidden really fast in other moments, like when pretty much every time Voldemort uses his magic voice power, it swirls the world around like that. It's a great way to communicate visually the disorienting effect that his magic has on people.
Yeah, and it calls back to any time in the past the series has utilized that.
Yeah.
No one listen.
Everybody earmuffs. Earmuffs.
Quick, everyone, sing a song. Cover your ears. You got what I need. You say
Not-
he's just
Not
a
so
friend.
loud, Bellatrix.
And you say he's just a friend. Oh, baby, you
I can't hear
you got
myself.
what
Nagini!
I need. So the fanboy in me is kind of bummed that we don't get to see all of the deaths that went down in the big battle.
Yeah.
Like we don't really get to see the last stand of Tonks or Lupin. Uh, we don't get to see Fred really dying. We get to see a scene of one of the Weasley twins being disarmed, but that's as Voldemort's talking. So unless that Death Eater is like, nah, I'm gonna kill him anyways, that probably wasn't the moment. So
It is fascinating that that's the death they choose not to show, since he does have a complete death scene in the book.
yeah. Well, that's what I mean. Like there's a lot of opportunities in a traditional movie you would get, not traditional movie, that was a dumb way to say it. In a lot of big action movies, those side characters when they have their deaths, those are treated as deep emotional beats that they want to stop. Hey, action filch. Deep action beats that they want to explore and drain the emotion out of. Instead, here they go with Harry wasn't a viewpoint character for that, so he doesn't get to find out about it until he walks into this room. Hey, there's Trelawney.
Humanity, Trelawney there.
Yeah. So I get what they're going for. That Harry just walks in and is suddenly overwhelmed with all these people he's known are dead. His friends are dead. His adopted family has suffered losses. But it still feels like we're just missing something that we didn't get to see those. I mean, they're our friends too. We've spent 8 movies developing bonds with a lot of these side characters, even if they only had a few moments. It would have been nice to see that capitalized.
Well,
It is.
actually, you're kind of describing why I like the way it was done here. Is
No,
they
you're
are our
wrong.
friends
Get out of my
too.
podcast.
But they are our friends too. So just walking into this room in this type of movie, you'd expect to see some last stands as people died, even if it was brutal. Here, Harry walks into a room and characters we've grown up with, we've watched grow, we've come to love, are just dead on the floor. It's just the aftermath, and it's so unexpected for a movie dealing with the type of things that it's dealing with. People fucking shooting wand lasers at one another. It's so brutal, and you're experiencing that kind of horror along with Harry, of seeing the aftermath of just corpses.
I think they undercut themselves a little bit though, because they immediately jumped to this scene where we go to Snape's memory. And the whole purpose of the scene, one, yeah, sure, it gives Harry the final knowledge of what's going on in the movie, but emotionally it serves to set up the fact that, hey, Snape actually wasn't a bad guy. We should feel bad that he's dead now because he was secretly trying to serve the Order all along. And it feels like that emotion overwhelms all of the deaths that Harry just walked by. Instead of taking them as a cumulative fact in my head, I kind of forget about, there being losses to the Weasley side and I just think, oh, hey, Snape. Oh, maybe if he just told people he wasn't an asshole.
Maybe if he was just honest. I'm not. I still haven't made up my mind on which order I prefer. Like how it's played in the books, where the scene of finding the bodies is after this scene. So it's shell-shocked Harry walking to his death and seeing all of his friends who have died. Or if it's better the way they do it in the movies. Like both versions have their merits, and I'm not sure which one I prefer.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like I don't mind the order here, but I do wonder if it would have played better reversed. Probably. It kind of depends on how you want to play it, because the scenes mean
we
different
split the
things
difference.
depending on the order.
He comes out, he sees like 3 of the characters dead. We mix some of the important ones. Maybe he finds Tonks, but not Lupin. Goes in, has this whole memory, and then he walks out, and they're just dragging more corpses. And he's like, God, well, fuck, there's Lupin. Best of both worlds. You get to see all your friends die 2 different times, so it's as emotionally crippling as possible. They bring in Hedwig, too, just so you remember that Hedwig died in the last movie. Mad Eye's corpse is there for some reason.
I do wish they had kept in Harry finding Colin Creevey with his fucking camera lying dead.
Considering we already got some chamber throwbacks, yeah, that'd have been nice. And going to the idea of people from our past not being as great as we thought, we get to see Harry's father also being a douche. Everybody gets a little bit of dirt on him in this movie.
And it's funny later when Harry just kind of ignores the ghost of his own father.
And it turns out you were something of a knob. Also, beautiful Alan Rickman here.
God, Rickman's
I've
fucking
been de-aged.
performance in these scenes.
I mean, here he actually gets to do some emotion stuff. I mean, he cries a single tear in his death scene, but here he gets to act through some of these emotions. So good. You got the guy, just one of the most talented actors around. Let him off the chain.
Yeah, I love how it's specifically Rickman doing 90s Rickman, which is a subtly different Rickman.
That one
And-
shot of Wormtail being evil.
And here we get Super Dick Dumbledore, which is fascinating. We go through these movies and they slowly chip away Dumbledore, where he gets worse and worse in your mind. And the hero worship from the first two movies is completely gone by this point. I mean, you see him literally say, "Who cares? Whatever. A kid died. I screwed up. Whatever. Everything's fine now. We just have to sacrifice Harry Potter at the right time."
Yeah, that's something they kind of band-aid a little bit in that final conversation in the books
Yeah.
that I'm actually really glad isn't in the movie. And you don't really get that resolution. Like Harry still ends up feeling that Dumbledore was kind of manipulating him and was kind of a son of a bitch.
Yeah, I mean, I do like actually the King's Crossing thing where he talks to Harry one last time. And you still get that sense of, okay, well, Dumbledore did some shitty things, but Harry knows about him now, and they're meeting on those terms. And it's okay. Like, we know better who Dumbledore is now. We're looking at him as a real person. That doesn't make him bad necessarily, it just makes him more human.
Yeah.
That said, Dumbledore's a dick, guys.
I think it makes Harry's arc more interesting in this film as well, because he doesn't get the everything's okay, Dumbledore, I understand. Like, he just takes in the information, and it feels like he actually moves both beyond it and has more of a hero's ending that's non-traditional, despite him kind of doing a traditional hero's ending.
Yeah.
Where he's in the mind space of someone who hasn't had hero worship of some kind of superhero figure. So he feels more, I think Harry actually feels more down to earth in his ultimate defeat of Voldemort in the movie because he doesn't come to some kind of understanding with Dumbledore. He just accepts that, yeah, Dumbledore kind of fucked me. That dude I worshipped as God kind of was not exactly what I thought.
Could we get a quick time check? What point are we at the movie right now? 1 hour, 21 minutes, and 3 seconds. So it's amazing to think we've got roughly 40-ish, 50-ish minutes left. And at this point in the film, we're making some of our most important characters much richer than we've ever seen them before. We're getting to the point where we find out Dumbledore has a dark past, and a darkness to him where he's manipulating people around him. We find out that Snape actually not as bad as we always thought. Like, he's acting out of shame and guilt to kind of cover up a lot of his, innate goodness. He's just being a dick because he thinks he deserves it. I don't know. Maybe that's probably one interpretation. I like all that. And we get the retcon here, too, that our interpretation of the early parts of the series were also kind of naive and childish. Of course, Dumbledore and the adults knew what the fuck was happening most of the time and had an eye on these things. They didn't just let the kids out and act willy-nilly. They were kind of observing things, and they were trying to guide them in certain ways so they would learn and grow and act the way they needed them to. They've been teaching them inside and outside of school the whole time.
The
Or maybe-
subtlest expecto patronum ever.
Or maybe J.K. Rowling was trying to get us to stop complaining that the adults were dummies in this series. I don't know. But I feel like it's great that with literally 40 minutes left of an 8-movie series, all of a sudden they pull the rug out from under us and they say, hey, no, if you rewatch this whole thing, now everyone has a new motivation for you to pay attention to.
Makes this such a rich final chapter and not just, oh, here's an epilogue.
Yeah, here's a giant wizard battle. And even it's very strange to me because the emotional payoff of Deathly Hallows Part 1 pays off now at the very end of Part 2. Because we've gotten away from that mystery structure in this film. There really isn't much of a mystery. Like, it's little stuff like, where do we find this item? Where is it, this item? What is this item? But that's 10 minutes. This is an action film. And yet, here we go. We get an answer to a mystery left unresolved in the previous film.
I will say it will always bother me that this wasn't edited in a way where Snape's final line to Harry in his death scene is just something we see from a distance and don't hear. And the final line in that montage isn't Snape saying, "You have your mother's eyes," because that would land so much better, I feel.
Yeah.
We'll always have Tokyo.
The fuck are you doing?
But
Well, I'm going to go die now. Goodbye.
it not that this movie's was seen like unfavorably or anything. People, of course, view this movie as one of the top in the series, but it's weird how it doesn't really get a lot of credit for being more than like just a straight big bombastic action film, which tends to be where people's opinion of it falls. Of course, there is the Snape stuff people remember and emotionally resonate with, but there is so much heavy lifting of character depth this film handles that's only in this film, really.
Hmm.
And it's incredible to me that a movie that can spend pretty much half its runtime being an action film, essentially, can actually pull all that off. Like, movies that build to a 20-minute action scene at the very end that are longer than this can't actually pull off the amount of character movement and depth and richness this one captures. Just even subtle things like how much we've gone through with Dumbledore just in this movie, a movie he's not really in, is incredible.
He's got a ghost in it. And speaking of subtle there, we have what could be Harry's farewell to his friends. Hermione gives him a hug, and you just get these insert shots of, Ron's face, these close-ups of him kind of looking at Harry, then looking away, and Harry gives a slight nod, and that's it. That's like the two lifetime best friends say their goodbyes without saying goodbye. They just kind of nod, and that's it. They'll see you on the next side.
I fucking love the subtle detail that Hermione already figured all of this out and just didn't want to believe it. Like, that's the most Hermione thing in the world, and it's so sad.
And as much as people might talk about this just being an action film, this is the climax right here, the emotional climax of Harry Potter deciding, I've seen all the relevant facts through the story. I know Dumbledore manipulated me. I have the option to just leave. I don't have to surrender. But he says, I'm ready to die. This is what I'm going to do. I know the plan. And he sacrifices himself. Emotionally, that's it right there. That's everything else after that is just kind of tying up loose ends. Because as soon as Harry makes that choice, it's the end of the hero's journey. It's the cultivation of everything he's learned and earned throughout 8 movies. That's it right there. That moment we just passed a second ago, right before he got the stone. That was the whole thing. And the rest is just kind of the action bits to enact what we already know is inevitable. So here's the big emotion. And boy, I think that's kind of fascinating. It's not a fact that Harry wins because he can shoot better than the other action hero. It's that Harry was able to look past everything that happened and still make the best choice for all of wizard kind, even at his own expense, even at his own emotional expense. So also, I think it's neat because he's the chosen one hero, but he has to make the choice. He's actually the hero because of a choice he makes. rather than an innate quality in his character.
Yeah.
Which is something they've strived this entire series to prove. Harry Potter and Neville both technically could have been chosen ones, and the prophecy is mostly true, but also kind of bunk. Harry Potter gets to where he is because of the things he has learned and how he behaves due to those lessons.
Well, again, it's like that's the brilliant thing about how they handle all the Chosen One stuff in this movie, in a series of movies, is everyone is constantly telling him, no, Harry Potter is the Chosen One. Harry Potter is the big hero. Harry Potter is the only one who matters. And in this moment, Harry is the thing that's going to kill Voldemort, but only because he loves his friends. Like, they're what ultimately matters, not him.
All right, and this one is probably a little bit old hat too, like Snape's defensive spells earlier. But out of our power play trio, Voldemort, Dumbledore, and Harry Potter, you could say each one is kind of representing one of the brothers from the Deathly Hallows story. So you've got Dumbledore, who sought power his whole life, but he was still betrayed and killed, so, the brother with the Elder Wand. Voldemort has spent his whole life seeking a way to evade death with the Horcruxes, but lost everything that was worth living for. And Harry, he starts off with the invisibility cloak. He gets that in his first year. He doesn't have grand wishes in those senses, and he's the one who actually ends up mastering the Hallows and evading death. You could even look at this as an extension of the first film's major lesson with the Mirror of Horizon, where Harry learns from Dumbledore he could waste his whole life looking into the mirror, seeing the things he wants, and chasing after those dreams. But it's not the same as living enjoying what he actually has. He could chase the Hallows, or he could actually live life. I think in the books they mention that Harry gives the cloak away to his son as well, but I could be wrong on that part.
I believe so.
Yeah, and then the other Hallows one, he drops the stone in the woods, and, well, spoilers! Breaks the Elder Wand.
Which I assume reforms until it's found by someone in the river like the mask.
He could have at least thrown the two halves into different areas, or, ate the unicorn hair inside or something.
No.
Jesus.
Is it unicorn
How
hair? I
delicious.
don't know what's inside the Elder Wand.
Also, oh my God, Hagrid's in this movie.
Oh, yeah.
he's
He's a
back.
character.
He's been in these woods being outraged by things for 2 hours.
I have a brother somewhere around here.
Oh, it's a scandal, it is.
So did Voldemort he's thought this line up for a long time, hasn't he?
Come to die.
Bye-bye.
Oh. He rehearsed that in a mirror.
While trying on wigs. See that Lego Dimensions trailer is continuity. Like, it's canon.
You will lose everything. So surprisingly,
Best one
Ow,
ever.
super Ray Fiennes really spits that one out. One of the most emotional parts of the books isn't even like Harry potentially being dead here, or the him facing Voldemort. I'll get back to it in a second, I guess, because we're gonna have this dream sequence-ish thing. But the idea of Hagrid being forced to carry Harry's corpse around the castle courtyard, I remember that really breaking my heart when I read the books. But this probably warrants a lot more discussion, because one, dear God, there's the Voldemort thing under the stairs. Look at this nasty little freaky puppet.
This fucking Apex Twin video we're suddenly in.
What is that? Oh, it's not important.
Oh, God, aborted again! Oh,
To
it looks
what
so
end?
sticky.
Covered in sauce.
Ugh.
It looks oddly delicious.
Mm.
That's another thing I was so surprised was in here, because I remember getting to that page in the book and thinking, yeah, it's not going to be in the movie.
Yeah. I love when the series can take these kind of stylistic divergences from everything else we've seen. Discussing color grading, all of a sudden we're in a scene that is all bright lighting. It's all white. There's no shadows either. This thing is all light. And
I
it
love that
stands out
shimmer
so much
effect.
from everything else, yeah. Plus, I mean, we've seen Voldemort in flashbacks, but for some reason, as a viewer, that never registers as, oh, the character's actually in this movie, which is odd, because, I mean, an actor still had to come onto set and film new stuff for flashbacks, but you don't quite get that in your head as a viewer. This scene, though, feels so rewarding because you get that closure with Dumbledore. You get to see him one last time and have fresh conversations like, this is new, this is actual Voldemort. I keep saying Voldemort, Dumbledore.
Same dude.
Yeah, same amount of evil.
Tomato potato.
I mean, Dumbledore is the angel of death.
I'm sorry, Gandalf the White. I kept saying Gandalf the White.
Luckily, I flipped you that coin that had an extra life several movies ago.
So we're going to get to something here that I can't criticize the movie for. I have to criticize the books for. Weird switcheroo. Dumbledore mentions we shouldn't pity the dead. We should pity the living who live without love. Cut to Harry Potter and the Cursed Child, which apparently has a retcon that Voldemort had a secret love child with Bellatrix. Kind of ruins that whole Dumbledore shade he was throwing there.
We pretend that thing never happened.
Weird choice. Weird,
Do you
weird choice.
need love to make violent, beautiful sex?
No. It still
Exactly.
just seems, I don't know, it seems out of place.
Also, I promise you, Voldemort and Bellatrix did not have sex. Nagini was involved. There were bottles of fluids.
Ho 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 ho!
snake's
Milk
milk.
and the snake.
I'm Dumbledore, and I can only talk in riddles, even in goddamn death.
God, Voldemort and Bellatrix must have the weirdest hate sex ever, though. Like, she's laughing,
Hey.
he's just saying Nagini over and over again.
She keeps reminding him that she killed Sirius Black.
He refuses to take off his robe.
Why
They
are
bow
you so
before-
covered in blood?
First we bow.
That's very formal, yeah.
Avada Kedavra!
Lucius is forced to watch.
Oh, my lord. Oh.
Very good, Dark Lord. Very good.
I like the Foley work to go on.
That's why he's
I
so
like how that-
fucking shell-shocked in this movie.
I've seen things you people wouldn't believe.
I love prison
Voldemort fucking out in the
Lucius so
moonlight.
much.
Semen glittering off the beams of Orion.
Cody, that's the most beautiful thing you've ever said.
I didn't think I was going to get to make a cum joke in the Harry Potter series, but here we are at the end of all things.
You made it. You made it,
did
buddy.
it. I did
The
it.
Bop
I
tradition
did it.
continues.
I'm going to go retire now from recording forever.
Then you walk off the court, because we're recording this on a basketball court now for the purpose of this joke.
3-pointer. Also, we just missed the most quoted line I think in all of Harry Potter. Of course it's happening in your head. Why doesn't that make it not real? We also had Dumbledore talking about the fact that he's proud of turning a phrase. It really feels like JK threw herself into this when she was writing it. Like, I'll be the stand-in for Dumbledore now.
Well, she did manipulate Harry Potter.
The whole time. That monster.
I didn't fall down.
All right, this
You
really
fell
blew-
down.
fell down. This blew my mind earlier. Someone online mentioned the fact that Voldemort in this movie is 71 years old. And I had to look up the book facts. Voldemort, born 1926, died 1998. And the last movie's maybe happening the same time as the book placed it. I don't know. The technology makes that a little more confusing. But the book ends in 1998, so there you go. 71, 72 years old. I guess he was also dead for 12 of those years, and we don't count ghost years in aging.
Also, wizards live to be 200, so
Yeah,
it's all
and
relative.
Voldemort did some magic plastic surgery to his face to snake himself up. He probably got some wrinkles removed.
Snake himself
Snaking
up.
it up.
Just imagine, if he wasn't all snaked up, he'd probably look like he's 60 years old.
Okay, so is the Sorting Hat dead or what?
I think it
You can
just
still
doesn't want
pull,
to be involved in this nonsense.
uh, you can still pull stuff out of its corpse, so does it matter?
Like Dobby in that way.
God, if only in that previous sequence somebody like CGI'd in a Force ghost of Dobby. Dobby is learning so many new positions in hell.
He just turns over and does
Time
Goatsy.
ago. No! I hate this show now. I didn't want to imagine fucking grungy ass Dobby's corpse doing the Goatsy.
I like how in your mind he's a zombie.
Voldemort has no time for giants.
He is Volder done.
Ooh, all right. So as I was saying before, this was the really emotional part for me in the books. The fact that Hagrid, being forced to carry Hagrid's corpse, is here across the castle courtyard, and there's that cruel irony of, hell, Hagrid is the one who volunteered to go grab Harry in the first place and literally drag him into the world of magic. He's the one who brings him to Hogwarts the first time. And now there's kind of this perversion of him having to bring Harry back to Hogwarts as a corpse by force.
Okay, not to rag on the film while you're saying all that beautiful stuff, but see how terrible the dummy of Harry Hagrid was carrying there for a second was? I've never noticed that.
No, I missed it because I was
Fucking
reading
Dick
notes.
Jones over there. But yeah, it was fascinating to read that that's been an image that was like in Rowling's head from the very beginning. Like when all this stuff was still unsure, she knew writing the first couple of books, the last book was going to have Hagrid carrying Harry's corpse into Hogwarts.
Imagine you're Voldemort and you go to all this hassle, you go to all this work and you finally kill your nemesis, and your big reward for this is the world's most awkward hug from Draco Malfoy. Rough. Just rough.
I love how
I
that
like
was improved by Fiennes. Because Fiennes has the weirdest but most genius idea of Voldemort ever. Like, so many other people would have played him as just Satan. He just plays him as weird.
I like to think that Fiennes had like a green paste over his nose during the scene too. It's just rubbing against Malfoy's cheek.
You smell nice.
Draco.
Come to daddy.
Just watch the reaction here. Just closer. Yes, squeeze. This is a man who has never given a hug before. I hug more naturally than this.
Felton not knowing what's going on, or if he should continue acting.
That look of, I would like to go home now. May I be excused from the set forever?
And
Also, I
Fiennes
never
is technically supposed to be nude.
I never noticed the fucking elvish armor that Lucius is wearing.
Also here, I want everyone to pay attention to Voldemort's hand acting for the next couple of minutes. I have something I want to say, and then Voldemort reacts with like this just exasperated hand clench. It's fantastic. He kind of goes from this mirth to this, oh, I hate you so much. Goddamn, fucking say it. I'm a merciful lord. And just so much is communicated by this there it is. Just, just that little hand gesture. I love it so much. And the amount of control Fiennes has over his weird prosthetic lizard lips to kind of show you it's almost a snarl that he's doing. It's very hard work with prosthetics. I mean, you got all this extra crap glued to your face that's not designed to bend, and somehow Fiennes does just a miracle job of showing emotions through it without looking like a cartoon character, even though he's dressed as an evil snake man.
And he has that hard-boiled egg thing going on with his head in this scene. What is Cho looking at?
Or post Harry Potter career.
Tee-hee.
Oh, snap.
The glory.
I'm
So
not dead.
Way to steal Neville's thunder there.
That's true.
I get to
Only
be the
I
hero.
may be
Oh, Harry's
special.
alive.
God damn it, people! Should have decapitated him when he had the chance, Voldemort.
I love how many
Oh,
Death Eaters just get
protect
the
me!
fuck out of here.
I really appreciate this. I mean, one, the emotional beat of seeing all of Voldemort's followers just flee. The music, Neville got his hero speech. It's just such a fine cocktail. I really, from emotional beats, like, yeah, that feels good. Also, in a second here, I just love this. Lucius Malfoy going off with the theatrical Lord of the Rings edition exit for Wormtongue. Like, goodbye, I don't get a comeuppance.
Yeah, I really, really wish they would have kept in the thing they shot of Draco throwing Harry the wand.
Yeah.
Because that was always one of my biggest complaints about the book is Lucius and Draco just have
Goodbye.
nothing.
I can't believe they cut that out. That's so bizarre. Especially because it's not like
Does
the
that-
movie's over long or anything.
I was gonna say, does that fuck with the logic of Harry getting his wand back and being the owner of the Death or the Elder Wand? I don't know what the scene was, so I don't know how it's presented or what it does.
It's a good question.
I do think it was literally just Draco throwing Harry the wand he was using earlier, which I guess would be Narcissa's wand.
Yeah.
Because Harry just kind of has a wand suddenly.
Yeah, it never even occurred to me until after I learned that was a deleted scene. After I watched it the first time, I went, oh yeah, there's no reason for Harry to have a wand here out of nowhere. I mean, maybe
I
they
enjoyed
did
the
discover that
visual
it fucked
of-
with some kind of logic, so they just felt it was better just to delete the scene.
I enjoyed the visual here of whenever like there's a wizard duel and the two beams strike each other, it just looks like molten gold falling to the ground.
I love that.
We've seen that a couple of times. I really appreciate that visual choice going with that. How do you think all the Nagini stuff is going to play after the Crimes of Grindelwald when we find out that's actually an Asian woman?
Weirdly kinky.
Hmm.
I have to say, I am so glad Harry actually fights Voldemort in this version.
Yeah,
Instead of his wand just immediately backfiring in the most anticlimactic final showdown in literature history. Fucking Dracula ending this randomly has.
I love the slow motion in the background of on fire wizards just flying across the room.
A perfect fucking shot.
Hey, it's that sword. I was holding that.
Every
Voldemort just
frame of
dancing
this
around.
film is a goddamn work of art.
I want to point out too the interesting way Fiennes holds his wand.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
about the only wizard to hold his between his fingers that way. And I guess like there is no one who came up to any of the actors and said, "This is how you control a wand." Everyone just went, "Well, it's a wand. You hold it like a stick." And Fiennes is the only guy who was like, "What if I just held this thing like I've never seen a piece of wood before in my life?"
Fiennes also always has it at the ready, like he's about to do battle, which is a choice I always have liked.
Mhm. Oh, she did the aliens line. Okay. So I don't want to get too negative here, but besides the fact they included the most cheerworthy line in the book, this battle has never done it for me.
This
Like
is kind of lame.
we get Molly getting the upper hand, and then she just kind of has a bad CGI shrinking effect, and then she turns into dust.
I've just always been confused as to why Molly fights Bellatrix. You know,
Yeah.
those characters who have been arch enemies for 7 books. What I love is if you swapped that, you would get the infinitely cooler scene of Molly grabbing the sword of Godric Gryffindor and killing Nagini.
That's also kind of a funny thing too. If you look at the roles assigned in the end battle, Molly gets to kill one of the main henchmen for Voldemort, the one who has like the biggest beef with Harry Potter. Ron and Hermione destroy the Horcruxes. That's kind of it. And then Neville's the one to get the snake. So it's funny. You'd think of our main 3 heroes, they'd be the ones doing all of this work, and instead it gets divvied up between all of the other cast members. Oh God! Oh, Apparition looks like the worst.
I love how Harry and Voldemort get a fucking Falls of Reichenbach moment.
I know.
As they morph their hideous faces together. I mean, if you're going to compare the good-bad nemesis-foil relationship, why not have a visualization of them merging into a screaming face of magic?
You'd be wrong not to.
Oh, you got the
Screaming
opportunity to
face
do it.
of magic.
And these two motherfuckers having a wizard duel just in the dirt and mud. Get some like it's First Blood, but with wizards. I love it.
This is a super nitpicky complaint, but I hate that Harry and Voldemort have their final duel in a courtyard with pretty much nobody watching. Just imagine if this were our world, there'd be like fucking QAnon folks out the next day like, Harry Potter made it all up for fame. Voldemort's still out there. It's all part of the plan. 4D chess. Like, there need to be witnesses.
Oh, my cousin, who is a huge fan of the books, came home furious that the final battle isn't in the Great Hall, which I can't really disagree with because that is kind of perfect symmetry with all of the Great Hall scenes we've seen throughout the movies.
Oh, yeah. That's one of the most famous Hogwarts places. I mean, it's all Hogwarts, sure, we know this is the court, but still, that would be amazing. Fuck, I'd be happy if there was at least a crowd here to see the shit going down. That's
Also-
not right.
Also, as my cousin pointed out, the beauty of that is it's Harry defeating Slytherin for the House Cup one last time.
Gryffindor wins. Fatality.
It would be funny if in this film they still had the point scene at the end.
And Slytherin won.
I mean, I'm sure Snape gave them like 5,000 points for like the couple months he was in charge.
To make
Also,
up for
it
all
was
that
the only
bullshit.
way, Voldemort.
McGonagall would just go in and cheat, though. She'd be like, well, no, actually, McGonagall wouldn't cheat. She would just find reasons to give people points
How dare you?
before the actual ceremony.
That's actually why they locked up Slytherin to affect the House Cup.
5,000 points from every Slytherin. Go fuck yourselves. This is personal headcanon here because I know the books don't agree. It's Handsome Neville and Luna hooking up. OTP.
Or not, they deserve to be
This-
happy.
This is the most movie thing in the world. These characters are sitting next to each other. I hear wedding bells.
Ooh. I mean, I remember all the book people asking J.K. Rowling that, like, did they? And she was like, no, of course not. And everyone was pissed, like, God damn it, J.K., don't toy with us.
It is just what you assume after finishing that book. Shut the fuck up, Horace Slughorn. I have to say, everyone's being very casual considering all that just happened.
Yeah, Wizard Hitler
Everyone's
got
just back to
exploded.
normal all of a sudden.
And I mean, we even get one last Filch bit of comedy, so everything is back to normal. To him, this is actually the worst in the world. He doesn't have any magic. This is going to take him a lifetime to fix.
What? Why
That's
does he
so
think-
cruel to Filch. He has to repair Hogwarts by himself.
Right?
What
No
is
one
he
who does
even
magic's going to
doing?
lend a hand. Giving up.
He has to hire contractors.
I mean, this is probably like a day job for a good crew of wizards, right? They could repair all this super quick. Filch, why even bother, man? You can't do it.
Well, we've seen them repair an entire city in Fantastic Beasts.
What's one bridge? The hard part's going to be putting all the charms back in place.
So I love this film noir moment of explaining with the finale after the finale.
But what was in the glowy suitcase? Oh, it was the stone. Okay. Other people have made this complaint, but I am a sheep, so I will mention as well. If I were Harry Potter, I would have used the world's most powerful wand to repair my broken wand before breaking the world's most powerful wand. Just me. I mean, I know it's an emotional gesture, but dude, come on. Priorities.
Look, he wants a different wand that wasn't given to him by John Hurt.
God, I'm just thinking of every mall in America right now where you go in there and there's a guy selling like shitty knockoff Ray-Bans in a little kiosk. They have that for wands, I bet, in the Harry Potter world. Like you go to a wizard mall, there's all the cool stuff, and then instead of a sunglass hut with like $200 sunglasses, there's some guy selling knockoff ones for like $1.50 that the paint immediately scratches off of.
Hey, this is just a stick. There's not hair of unicorn in this at all.
No returns, and then they shut down the kiosk.
Oh god, wizard pop-up stores would be so annoying. They'd be there for like an hour.
See, how the scene should have gone is Ron then should have taken off his jacket and jumped in after it as the credits started to play.
Oh, it's just that deleted scene from Half-Baked.
I like to think of it as the end of The Mask.
Exactly. 2 references to the film The Mask so far in this final Harry Potter commentary.
I know, yeah.
And 3 with just tonight's conversation beforehand. So, God, we just expect our Mask commentary next month, guys.
Do you think
We are
Harry
on
Potter would have
stupid
been
fire.
Oh yeah. Do you think Harry Potter would have been improved if they took the soundtrack out and replaced it with all the songs they used in Ferris Bueller's Day Off?
Yes.
Just curious.
I like how we're just having fun with this one. We've
All right,
earned
so
it.
this last little tag on weirds me out. One, it's not like the old age makeup because they went fairly restrained there. It's very bittersweet and melancholy. And for us, you'd almost assume after all these movies it'd be triumphant. Harry Potter has won. He's defeated the Dark Lord. And then we jump forward 20 years and he's saying goodbye to his kids so they can have adventures. And we're permanently saying goodbye to our group of characters we love and know. I don't want to say goodbye to anyone. Film, it was perfect the way it was. Leave it open-ended.
Well, I've always really fucking appreciated the hell out of how restrained Rowling was with this epilogue, where it gives you absolutely nothing continuity-wise other than they had some kids. Like, it's just there to make a point, which I really like.
Yeah.
Also, I love how Ginny is the most convincing.
It's weird. And Ron, because he already looked 30.
Ron looks like he's been drinking. It's been a rough couple of years.
He is a wizard cop.
This is what
It's
I
a
love.
hard
I'm
job.
pretty sure Felton now has based his late 20s look on how Draco looked in this scene.
He looks exactly like that now. It's really weird.
Yeah, I'm convinced of it. But I like how this ending kind of plays on the Chosen One trope of at least how the Potter films have played on the Chosen One trope, which is kind of anti-Chosen One. Like, he defeated Voldemort and then just went on to have a normal life. Like, nothing.
That thing Harry deserves.
Yeah, like, nothing like super heroic happened or anything else. Didn't have further adventures. He had the thing.
It is
Harry
all
wanted.
downhill after that. I will say too, since I mentioned the music several times here, Desplat earlier used a lot of his own compositions and stuff that didn't really connect to what John Williams had set up earlier in this franchise. But as we went along, as Voldemort grew weaker, I think we heard more and more of that John Williams music creeping back in until we get to this scene where this is just the John Williams score back. We're platform 9 3/4 where it all started, and the music's back. It's gone full circle. Only this time, Harry being there without a family, he's there with his family, and he's hopefully correcting some of the mistakes of the past.
Also, yes, son, you too can game the system.
But just remember, if they put you in Slytherin, you'll be sent to a dungeon.
And
We'll
all your points
pass
taken
that.
away.
Chocolate
I hope to fix this as new
rain.
district attorney.
Just J.K. Rowling comes out with the least appealing Harry Potter sequel ever.
Uh, uh,
It is funny people kind of shit on what they looked like here. Like, oh, they don't look older at all. Meanwhile, this many years later, they look exactly the fucking same.
Yeah.
Radcliffe
I mean, it's
really doesn't
20
look that
20
much
years.
different than he did in this film.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go out on a limb and say Emma Watson's just gonna look like that in 10 years.
Pretty much.
Also, am I the only one who found it fucking hilarious how they slowly push Ginny out of the frame of the
I know. It's not important. Let's just get this out of the way. They're married because
Hey,
book.
wait a minute. It would be
Also-
hilarious if they didn't film her and the implication was just they'd gotten divorced. Harry's a single dad trying to make it in the city.
Wasn't that one of the things J.K. Rowling said she regretted? Like, oh, if only I hadn't put Ron and Hermione together, they would have gotten divorced. Which is such a weird writer's regret thing to say after your book was a huge mega hit. Like, duh, stop screwing with it, man. It was fine. Don't
Emma
give me
Watson
special editions of
made-
headcanon.
Emma Watson made the same exact comment Rowling did, which is they probably were fine after a lot of counseling. It's like, why can't you motherfuckers just let it be a fucking fake fiction relationship?
Right?
No
And they lived
fiction
happily
relationship
ever
actually
after.
works.
I don't know. What about Nick and Nora?
I
Their
like their
playlist was
playlist.
infinite.
God damn it.
Who
No, we're
the
talking
fuck
Thin Man
references
here.
Nick
people.
and Nora's Infinite playlist?
This was the Thin Man. This was classic movie romance and alcoholism.
No!
Read a book, people.
That's how you're gonna end this? Read a book, motherfuckers.
I think it's oddly fitting for a Harry Potter film commentary series.
I guess that's true.
Ha ha! Hachi chachi!
Okay, I have to say, I was not expecting to feel this at the end of this rewatch and this commentary series, but I think it says it all that I already want to rewatch these. I
Same,
have
honestly.
rewatched every Harry Potter movie over the past 3 months, and as soon as the credits rolled on this one, I was like, can I make time next weekend to just watch them all in 2 days?
It's November. It's that time of year. You almost have to. Hell, if you turn on ABC
Sci-fi.
Family, you're gonna see him.
Cody, how many fucking times are we gonna have to say this during this goddamn ass fucking commentary? It's freeform now.
What? I don't want to believe.
Why ass fucking?
That's a solid question, Mike.
It
I had
makes
a nickel every
everything
time
more
I had
dramatic.
to ask that question. To Dobby. To take a moment. So we've done now we've finished our journey of providing audio commentaries for all the Harry Potter films.
And now
the
we can
credits are
never
rolling.
speak again.
Never. We shut it all down and take these off the internet, so you don't even get to listen to them. This has been, for me, like we've been doing podcasting for many years. This has been one of the best podcasting experiences I have had so far, and I was not expecting that. But even
I
though
took notes.
I know, you had M words
Mostly.
mostly.
I still got it.
Ooga,
Ghostly.
ooga.
Damn. This fucking stupid podcast. But even though we've already seen these films, actually really diving into them and watching them in a row like this and placing ourselves fully into them, I did want that to be as sexual as humanly possible, has been a really fun experience, and it's kind of it's bittersweet that we're done, honestly. I'm going to miss doing this on this podcast.
Same.
We're not dying,
Yes, we are.
are we?
We're all
Oh.
dying, Cody. It's in different.
Well, I mean, not tomorrow, probably.
I don't know if I have anything to say about it. And through this, I've actually come to appreciate these movies even more than I already did.
Yeah, same. Like, I didn't realize just how attached I was to this franchise until getting like genuinely emotional, like watching this final chapter and thinking, "Oh, I'm going to talk about this with Mike and Cody later, and then it'll be over."
I hate magic now.
I have always looked forward to these recording nights to get into these movies as we've been going along. More and more progressively as it's gone, and it's fun to look back at the first commentary, which was a kind of a kids film, so we didn't have too much to say, and then into the later films got a little bit more emotional.
Boy, do I have a treat for you. We're actually, and this is an announcement I haven't told anyone yet, we're going to do all the commentaries in reverse now. We're going to start the movie over right now and record a second commentary, and then we're going to do part one, and then Mike's going to jump out a window, and then we're going to keep going and see if there are any survivors. And we're going to go back in time until we eventually hit the crimes of Grindelwald.
I'm so glad I get to jump out of a window that soon.
Yeah, you get out of it real early. I've seen the future past, and it's good for you.
Fantastic,
I've seen
finally.
the future past. That might be the most Cody thing you've said in any episode.
I don't want to speak these words anymore.
That's how we know we're at the end of an epic journey.
Wonderful films is what I'm saying. Brings people together. Even on this terrible fucking podcast I hate.
These losers you've always resented.
These people I'm better than.
This is how you dramatically reveal that you're a Death Eater.
I should have known.
You turn on your
Pull up my
webcam just
sleeve.
long enough to pull up.
No,
Oh,
it's
wait,
a
wrong one. This one.
I'm sorry, I got it recently. I'm not sure which hand is the evil one yet.
Let's pull up one. It's a naked lady. Oh shit! Sorry, that's an old one.
You have Petunia from Pete and Pete. Oh god, she's dancing. That means Voldemort's here.
Next up on AMC Movies, Idle Hands.
How's that drink, Cody?
I finished that a long time ago.
Okay.
I needed like a mini fridge right next to my recording desk. Because as you're doing the commentaries, it'd be weird if I just like, hold on, and just ran away for 3 minutes as I mixed things.
Oh, I do that all the time.
What? You're just telling me this now? You need to tell me that 10 minutes before the commentary ends so I can have my emotional background upturned.
Oh, I left for a solid minute earlier to go get yogurt.
I was maybe making an emotional point.
You know
And
what?
you gave it up for Gogurt.
Yogurt! Don't you dare put a G in front of that.
The other one is fun on the go. It's better. Do they still make Gogurt?
Yes.
I don't think so. Do they?
Yes.
That survived the 2000s?
I like how angry Mike sounds. Like he's sitting on like 10 packs of Gogurt. Like, yes, I'm the owner of 90% of the stock. We still make it.
You fucking Philistine!
I didn't know you cared much about Gogurt, Mike.
I don't. I'm mad that
know.
I'm forced to.
Mike is just passionate about facts.
Mike, what can you tell me about Uncrustables? Is that still around?
I don't believe so, no.
That was a trick question. I saw them today at the store. Yes, they are.
I'm glad you went to the store, Cody.
I had to get contact solution for my eye.
Yeah, you told us earlier you shoved a contact into your eyeball and it's gone now. Did it ever recover?
All right. So the full situation. I was watching Creature last night after the football game to drown my sorrows. And I fell asleep. I woke up at like 3 a.m. with my contacts still in. So I stumble over to the bathroom to pull them out. Right one comes out, no problem. Left one, like I start pulling it out, and it slips out of my fingers, and like my eye is still blurry. But I didn't feel the contact leave my eye. So I assume it probably fell out, landed on the sink. So I spend like the next 10 minutes searching for it, and I can't find it anywhere. I didn't move around before that, so I don't know where it would have landed. I was over the sink, no sign of the contact at all. So I go, all right, fine, fuck it. It's gone. I'll just put on new contacts in the morning. I mean, that one is gone anyways if it landed on the carpet. Whatever. So I put my glasses on, go back to bed, and I just can't sleep because my left eye is just, it feels annoyed, like there's dirt or something in it. So I keep fucking around and trying to push it around, see if I maybe lost contact in there. But I can never find it. So I wake up in the morning, my eye is still bugging me. I put my contacts in, go to work, and all day long, my left eye just feels like there's something scratching at it. Never found the lens. If it's in there, I can't get it out. If it's not in there, I probably just like was fucking around so long trying to get it out, combined with sleeping with contacts in, that I just kind of like scratched something on my eye and it's annoying me. I don't know. Maybe I've got a contact lens beneath my eyelid and it's just sitting around there in case of emergencies, and I need to see things desperately.
That is some Batman shit if that's the case.
Just
Quickly, I need
imagine.
supervision. Quick.
Just imagine the prep, like, well, they took my contacts because they wanted to hobble me. However, I came prepared, and they just roll your eye around until all of a sudden you have a contact back in.
Oh God, if you're ever taken by ISIS,
You don't even want to know where I'm hiding the knives and pincushions.
I tried so hard to send us out on a note about our journey, an
That was
emotional,
never happening, Mike.
epic, rousing note, a
What I'm
wrap-up
saying,
for all the folks at home who've taken this journey with us. And one of us is drowning in yogurt, and the other one's blind. I just give up with this podcast. I have to edit
I'm
this.
just, if only there was some magic in the real world that could remove contact lenses.
Can I
And
call him
with
the
that,
eye
the
doctor?
film is done. Those aren't wizards, they're doctors.
exact opposite of wizards. They've sworn allegiance to science in the
That's
physical world.
true. He's got you there.
Eye doctors have not sworn their allegiance to science. If they did, they wouldn't
Yeah.
go poking around at eyes all day going, why are you fidgeting? Why are you fidgeting? Because you're poking me in the fucking eye, and that's uncomfortable.
Comfort has no room in science, Mike.
It's good to
Anyways,
have
I think
glaucoma
that's...
tests every once in a while, though. You never know.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I just hate those little air puff tests. Drive me crazy.
Oh, yeah, that's very unpleasant.
And
I'm
that,
sorry.
folks, is a
Sorry.
wrap
I'm
on our
sorry,
Harry
people
Potter
listening. I'm
commentary
so
series.
sorry.
You didn't ask for any of this.
Thank you so much for listening to our hours and hours and hours of blathering. If you
Hours of
still
errors.
can't, hours of errors. That's probably true too.
Can that be our
That's-
new slogan?
Hours of errors. Box office pulp. Come on down. Get your misinformation.
To
We try
errors,
hard.
Bob.
We just don't know anything. Anyways, folks, if you enjoyed this, if you just can't get enough, you can find more Box Office Pulp at Box Office Pulp Blogspot. You can find us at Twitter. We're on Facebook. We're on Stitcher. We might have an Instagram someday. I don't know. We're pushing.
Maybe.
I'll never tell. That's actually a bad strategy. If we get one, we should tell people.
No,
let's
we
keep
have to
it a
have
secret.
a secret Instagram.
But we're out there, folks. Go find us. Go listen to more of this shit.
Subscribe, rate, tell your friends,
Listen.
tell your girlfriends.
Or boyfriends, we don't want to discriminate.
That's true.
If you're in a polyamorous quartet, tell all of them.
If you're in a barbershop quartet, tell all of them. Yeah, all right. That's enough.
If anybody's listening
that's-
who at any point has had a Conan the Barbarian style cannibal orgy, please get us in contact with those people, because I would love to record an episode live from one of those for like an unrelated film like Sleepless in Seattle or something. I think that would be fun. But that was my little cry out for help, honestly. I'm sorry, Cody, you were ending the show?
I was. Folks, leave, run, now. Head for the doors. I'll hold them off. Anyways, folks, this has been Box Office Pulp. I've been Cody. That's been Mike. That's been Jamie. And this is a wrap.
Avada Kedavra.
Oh, magic!
You get more out of life when you go out to a movie. Please remember to replace the speaker on the post when you leave the theater.
I do not like Dobby. I do not like Dobby. I do not like Dobby. I don't like Dobby. Dobby,
Is this
I
when
don't
we
like
come in
Dobby.
on you and you've been practicing this line and realize you've liked Dobby this whole time and this has all been an act?
Dobby, I don't like him.
I don't know what I'm more shocked by. Cody lying to us about his like or dislike of Dobby, or the fact that he has a dressing room.
I don't like Dobby. Dobby? I don't like him. Gadzooks.
Well, Dobby sure does like Cody Alft.
I don't like him.
Oh, scream it into my gaping asshole.
Oh.
Tub Girl, but with Dobby.
Oh.
Oh, boy, Dobby will eat lots of pears.
Jesus Christ. You're not putting all this in as the end scene. This commentary is too long already. We don't need another 20 minutes of us making Dobby jokes. I swear. I swear.
Oh, but Cody, Dobby just discovered sounding.
I don't actually know what that one is, but I'm assuming it's disgusting.
Oh.
Oh, what Dobby does is he gets a wand, and he sticks it right up his dick hole. And it vibrates.
You say he's just a friend. And you say he's just a friend. Oh, baby, you got what I need. You say he's just a friend. Oh, baby, you.
This is Box Office Pulp Guy, and this has been a Pulp Podcast production. Now please, 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 put a gun in my mouth and pull the trigger and say goodnight.
And now, on with the show.
There are a lot of issues that plague the
Greetings and salutations, kiddos. It's me, your old goblin in crime, Roderick Kingsley, here with a special message for you, my adoring public. You may have noticed lately in my many appearances that I've had a bit of a spring in my pointy-booted step. No, boys and girls, the secret to my success is no wonder drug or miracle diet, but an elixir of the spirit. And, like a Halloween-themed Jehovah's Witness, I'm here to spread the good news like a bombardment of pumpkin bombs. The good news of graphic novelism. But, Uncle Hobgoblin, you ask, what is a graphic novelism? Don't interrupt me, you little shit! But yes, the tenets of graphic novelism are quite simple. A love for the comic book form in all of its forms. A rejection of the complacency that keeps it from reaching further heights. And, most importantly, a refusal to fall into the dark pool of negativity that has strangled the life out of this culture for too long. Since becoming a devout graphic novelist, I've rebuilt my goblin game from the ground up, soaring high above my fears and insecurities, as though they were the skyline of New York City. And all you have to do to walk this path is look deep within yourself and send your credit card number care of Ronnie the OG Hobby at gobmail.com. Or if you want to be a total Norman about it, just listen to the Graphic Novelism Podcast, where Alex Cook, James Lewis, and Mike Napier preach their love for the medium and warn against those that may do it harm. Remember, ladies and gents, if you want to be the hobgoblin of whatever it is that you do, listen to Graphic Novelism. Subscribe to it on iTunes and the Stitcher. Leave a rating and a comment. Visit graphicnovelism.com. And for God's sake, kill Spider-Man!
on another episode.
That was just a little taste of graphic novelism.